this class, mic is not needed, maybe for video recording. Right? So I am Mr. Chalian. Right. My purpose here is very simple. Right. Number one, I think so many days Manoj sir was with you. So you would have at least told you about this competitive examination. Am I right? Okay. Right. Actually, I do not know the composition of this class. Can I know, means how many of you are actually preparing for UPSC, civil service examination? Right. You can be, right. Okay, right. Few, actually, okay. Right. How many of you are preparing for other competitive examinations? Say, for example, assume that you are not preparing for UPSC, maybe your state PCS, right, Joint Public Service Commission, banking, whatever it is. How many of you are preparing for those examinations? Right. Very good. Right. See, as I said, I'll just give you a basic idea about competitive examination. Not only for UPSC, any competitive examination you take it, you prepare it in this country. There are few things, you call them as SOP. Right? I hope you understand what is this SOP, right? Standard operating procedure, you call them as, correct? Right. You have to follow some SOP to crack this examination. Alright. So let me tell you, my dear friends, competitive examination, actually they do not test your knowledge. If at all, if you feel that, okay, only the elite people can get into the service, right, that is completely wrong. Because I am the example of it, right. See, I have qualified UPSC, I worked in CRPF, I came out as deputy commandant in CRPF, right. Just want to tell you that my academic record was so poor, right, it means throughout the school I never studied, right. Only when the competitive examination came in, we at least understood that what exactly this exam is all about, right. Understanding the examination is very, very important. Okay. Now what I will do, irrespective of the examination, the basis, the funda, I will take it to the UPSC, okay. Right, but irrespective of the examination, I will tell you, right, how to understand any competitive examination, okay. It can be civil service, right, it can be any premier services what you find. Right, fine. So it can be any competitive examination, as I said. There are few things which you have to understand in nature. Okay. Basics, you have to do your basics fine. Okay. Right. Now my dear friends, I'll tell you what. You know about UPSC, right? Generally they say UPSC is the toughest examination, right? UPSC is an organization. Right. This organization conducts one examination called a civil service examination. Right. People say that civil service examination is the toughest examination in this country. How many of you agree that civil service is the toughest examination? How many of you agree? You agree or you disagree with that? You agree with that? Right. Do you know what exactly is the syllabus for UPSC? What are the different subjects you study for UPSC? What are the different subjects you study for, at least to be very precise, civil service examination? What are the different subjects? What is it? Well, you can be mixed. It can be interactive in nature. No. What is that you actually study? Have you heard about history? Right. History is part of your preparation. Alright. Geography is part of your preparation. Environment is part of your preparation. Economy is part of your preparation. Polity is part of your preparation. Right. These are the 5 major areas where you will be concentrated for your civil service examination. How many of you have studied history? Almost all. How many of you have studied geography? Almost everyone. Right. Have you heard anything about polity? Right, in your school's days, right, we used to call it as what? Civics. Right, between this history and geography always lies one lesser known area. That is what you call them as what? Civics. Right. In UPSC parlance, we call them as what? Polity. Right. The same, say for example, what I called as history and geography, till class 6th or till class 5, I used to call it as what? EVS. Few places we used to call it as EVS. What is EVS? Alright. My dear friends, let me tell you, I have given you 5 subjects, right? History, geography, polity, EVS. Already you have studied. If you ask me what exactly is the syllabus, I would say the syllabus what you have in NCR, right? I do not know how many of you studied in CBSE schools, but more or less, whichever school, whichever pattern you study, more or less, the syllabus is going to be more or less similar. I'm not saying same, more or less similar, right? The content, the topic is going to be similar, right? At max, we have not heard about economy, right? We know, right, day-to-day parlance or day-to-day, say for example, our own life, we have seen economy, right? Only thing is that as a subject, we are not studying. My dear friends, let me tell you, the so-called toughest examination in this country called a civil service examination. That exam itself, if you ask me what exactly is the core syllabus, the core syllabus is nothing but your school syllabus. Let me tell you, this is what the fact, this is what the truth is. Not only civil service examination, any competitive examination you prepare in this country, right? If at all, if this competitive examination is going to be based on, say for example, general studies, right? If you ask me what is the syllabus, school books, right? Till what class, if you ask me again, till class 10. Class 11 and class 12 is specialization. I'll tell you, right? Even today you can go back home and you can compare the same. Whatever the topic you would have studied in class 6 to class 10 in geography and CRPs, the similar topic you will be studying in class 11 and 12. The only thing is that the depth of knowledge will be right. So if you can study till class 10 examination or till class 10 books, my dear friends, I'm telling you, you are ready for any competitive examination. So it can be civil service, it can be intelligence bureau. You heard of IB? Right. There was a recent call for, I do not know how many of you have applied for. Have you heard about this post called as ACI? Assistant Central Intelligence Officer. Okay. So this is the highest post through which you can enter what? The intelligence bureau. Right? You cannot enter IB, right? Maybe the direct entry is not more than this particular post. So there are plenty of examination which comes your way, which is based on general studies. Okay. Now, as I was saying, what I do, right? Before almost starting with the civil service preparation, if at all, if I'm just talking about any exams in India, right? It can be any exams. Okay. There are only two types of exams that you will be studying in India. Or, I'll put it this way, competitive examination is only, right, is of two types. If you want to categorize, as I said, only two types of them. One, wait, is it visible? Is it visible? Right. When I talk about one type of examination, I call them as what? Right. Aptitude-based examination. Right? I call them as what? Aptitude-based examination. Right? This examination is based on aptitude. Another set of examination is based on GS. For example, have you seen, right, have you heard about any banking examination, IBPS? Heard about it? Right. When I talk about IBPS, when I talk about National Insurance Corporation Limited, right, and plenty of other examinations. So these are the exams which is based on aptitude. Correct? Aptitude is not mathematics. How many of you have a fear of mathematics? Very good. Correct. Right. But aptitude is not mathematics. Aptitude has English. Aptitude has reasoning. Right. You have verbal, non-verbal. General mental ability, the so-called mathematics, is only 20%. So it does not have this fear of mathematics. Okay. Right. So as I said, one set of examination is based on aptitude. Another set of examination is based on general studies. As I said, UPSC itself conducts many examinations. Right? You know about civil service. Have you heard about CAPF? Central Armed Police Force. Right? So the examination what we have qualified. Okay. So direct DSP posting will be given. Okay. There are few other examinations. You would have heard about Indian Forest Service. There is a separate examination. Am I right? Even you would have heard about CDS, right? Right. CDS is Combined Defense Services. Am I right? So if at all if you want to enter into armed forces, this is the examination what will be. Right. Where I am talking about the topmost entry. Right. So if you ask, right, what exactly is the syllabus for these examinations? General studies. Right. Even for example, assume that you are going to write some examination in your own state, your own UT. Am I right? Right. Even I am not pretty sure what exactly is the syllabus. Right. Some of you are preparing for this. I think the constable recruitment is also coming your way. What are the other exams comes your way? IRB. Acha. India Reserve Battalion. Fine. If that is the case, I am pretty sure that some of the syllabus will be based on GS. Okay. Right. Now what I tell you, Once you prepare a basic area in your general studies, I am pretty sure that most of the exams in India, you are almost by preparing yourself for. Just prepare checks. What I am telling you, don't prepare for UPSC, right? Or don't prepare for civil service examination. Don't prepare for CAPF. You prepare, right, for any competitive examination which is based on general studies. If you ask me, what are the subjects I have to study? I already told you. If you want to take it, you can take it. I will put it in order way. If you want to take it, you can take it. Right. Number one, there is a subject called as polity, right? Indian polity. The title is Indian polity. The second subject, it is Indian economy. Indian economy. Third subject, it is environment. It is environment. Call them as environment, whatever it is, environment. Subject number 4 is history. Subject number 5 is geography. Right? These are the fundamental 5 areas you call this. I used to call it as 5 pillars of this preparation. If you want to add one more area to this, say for example 5 areas I have given you, you can add one more area. That is general science. Right? Again, the general science is not new to you. You have already studied in what? Your own schools. Correct? Right. And always have a habit. See, any competitive examination you prepare for, always have a habit of following what? Current affairs. Right? Not necessarily that every day you should sit and read newspaper. Right? There are plenty of monthly magazine which is coming. Heard about any monthly magazine? Right? Are you following any monthly magazine? Any monthly magazine. Say for example, you have heard about this Pratyogita Darpan. Right. Not only Pratyogita Darpan, any monthly magazine which gives you a consolidation of current affairs also. So 7th, if you want to add, you can add one more area. That is current affairs. If you can have a basic knowledge in these areas, I am pretty sure any competitive examination you can qualify. Right. At least Manoj sir would have told you what exactly you have to do in history. Right? Did he give you any, say for example, prescribed material that if you're studying this one, right? Something like that, I call them as a safe material. Did he prescribe any material like that? So he'll be prescribing it. I'm not touching it. Geography, if you ask me, right? I'll give you a simple material. Okay? Class 6 to class 10 NCR. So class 6 to class 10 NCR for geography. I'm not talking about history, for geography. Right? For geography, this should be fine enough. If somebody comes for polity, he'll be telling you what exactly is the material what you should study for. Okay. Right? Now, okay. Just I have told you that in India there are 2 types of examination. Okay. Generally, my dear friends, if you want to get into a higher post demand general studies preparation. Right? Say for example, if I am just getting into the middle level management or the low level management, almost the aptitude based examination is more. Okay. Accordingly, you have to. Right. Everything is there. Now somewhere I said, any examination you take it, there is some SOP that you have to follow. Okay. Once you follow this SOP, you yourself will know that what exactly you will be, right, you have to do in this examination. Say for example, assuming that you are preparing for civil service, what is the first step you do? You are preparing for civil service. What is the first step you do? Not only civil service, any examination. Syllabus. Fantastic. Syllabus. Without knowing what exactly is the syllabus, never prepare for that examination. Right? The notification itself will be coming with the syllabus. Detailed studies. Right? You have to go with the syllabus. And I'm telling you, it is just not going with the syllabus. Right? You have to decode the syllabus. UPSC it is needed, but other examination it is not needed. At least I'll tell you, my dear friends, how to decode a syllabus. See here, you know civil service examination pattern, right? There are main examination, there is a preliminary examination. Normally I would say that the preliminary examination is very difficult, but main examination is very easy. Have you seen the syllabus for? Friends, preliminary examination, if you ask me syllabus, only 7 lines is given. Only 7 lines. If you ask me what is the syllabus for mains examination, 7 pages of syllabus only. It's like a small booklet. Okay. Now if somebody comes and asks me, right, which is easy to prepare? Is it 7 line of syllabus is easy to prepare or 7 pages of syllabus is easy to prepare? Which is easy? 7? Why? You are right, but why? I say 7 lines of syllabus is difficult, but 7 pages of syllabus is easy. How?
Because the content is already with us.
Very good. Only thing is that it is something like that, what she said, I should elaborate on. It is given in a detailed fashion. Right? It is given in a detailed fashion. Mains examination is given in a detailed fashion. Preliminary examination, it is an indicative syllabus. I'll give you a comparison. Can you read this? It says syllabus for prelims, only for geography I am saying. What exactly it says? Indian and world geography. Okay. What it further says? Physical, social and economic geography of India. No. So it appears only 1 line is there. Okay. My dear friends, if you ask me, right, if at all, if I want to cover each and every topic in this 1 line, right, and if you ask me how much time you will take, I will say at least 1 year. Correct? But if you ask me, 3 paragraphs are there. Right? Can you find it? It means salient features of world's physical world. Correct? Distribution of key natural resources across the world within bracket. Very good. Right? Including India, it says. If you ask me, 3 paragraphs of syllabus is there. Mains examination. If you ask me how many days you will take it, I will say 15 days. 3 paragraphs is 15 days, but 1 line is 1 line. If you ask me why, reason is very simple. Right? If you don't mind, right? Okay. So civil law. So I was just reading some of the paragraphs for you, right? Distribution of key natural resources across the world, including India, right? Or including South Asia and India and so on. Then the second sentence says, factors responsible for the location of primary, secondary and tertiary sector industries of, right? Industry sectors, industries in various parts of the world, including India, right? And the third paragraph says important geophysical phenomena such as, right, earthquake, tsunami, volcanic activity, cyclones, etc. Correct? Now, my dear friends, let me tell you, as I said, 3 para, not more than 15 pages. 1 line takes more than 1 year. I'll tell you why. That's how this preliminary examination has become difficult. Because mains examination, they have given you a detailed syllabus. What to study, what not to study, both there. But prelims it is not. Alright. If you ask me, if somebody is coming and asking me, right, what should I study in geography for prelims? I would say, you study geography. Right? It means even I do not know what exactly is the syllabus. I'll tell you why. Right? At least, my dear friends, I'll just give you an overview about this subject, what is geography. Right. So let me, say it is geography, geography. Somewhere, if it looks like geography, I am happy. Okay. Right, my dear friends. Only thing is that let me give you an idea about geography. You know what is geography? Right. If at all, if I'm just asking you to define. What is this geography? What do you mean by graphy? Fantastic. Graphy means study. Geo means I'm going to study about. Correct. Now, if you ask me, what are the divisions? Okay. This is how everyday happens. Think of what? Study of. Now, for example, assume that I am a student of geography. Right. If you ask me, What are the different areas or segments or divisions I will be studying in geography? I would say this geography can majorly be divided or classified into two major gamuts. What are they? Number one, very good. Right, you call them as what? Physical geography.
And human geography.
Fantastic. Right, you call them as what? Physical and human geographies. Right? These are the two major areas of geography. Right? You say two major areas, two major division, whatever it is. Right? Now comes another question. What is that I will be studying in physical geography? If you ask me what is that you will be studying in physical geography, I would say, right, physical geography is all about study of Earth, my dear friends. I will be studying about Earth. Correct. Then what is human geography? I will say it is all about study of world. Correct. Now comes the biggest question, right? Right. Don't you think both are same? Actually, it is not. Is there any difference between Earth and world? Plenty of difference out there. Okay, maybe I'll just ask you this question. Right. Sometimes you call it as a home. Sometimes you call it as what? House. Correct. Is there any difference? House versus home. Is there any difference, my friend? Obviously, yes. Right. And talk about house versus home. Right. You tell me what is the difference? How many of you are coming from your house? Is there anybody who is coming from your house? I don't think so. Right. You are coming from your home. Right. If that is the case, what is the difference? What do you mean by house? What do you mean by house? Fantastic. It is just a structure. Right? Just a physical entity which is made up of brick and mortar, you call them as what? House. House is just a building, my friend. Right. Whether family lives there or not, whether human being is there or not, just a structure, you call them as what? House. Right? It is just a physical entity, my friend. Nothing beyond it. It is just a physical entity. Am I right? It is just physical in nature. Now comes the question, on what occasion this house becomes home? Right? Very good. This house should have the presence of what? Human. There is nothing but what? Family. Only if you have family in it, am I right? This house will become what? This family is a socio-economic structure. Am I right? So that's the reason normally we say the same difference. Whatever is the difference between house and home, the same difference I can apply for what? Earth and world. Right? If I am going to study only about Earth, right? I am not going to study about human being. Only about Earth I am studying. Then the study you call them as what? Physical geography. Right? The same Earth along with human being. Right? The social setup. Am I right? The economic landscaping. If at all if I am studying it. Am I right? You call them as what? Human geography. That's a simple difference. Am I right? So if that is the case, what exactly is human geography and physical geography? I have an idea. Right? So study of Earth in isolation of human being. Say for example, I am going to study about landforms. I am going to study about, right, atmosphere. I am going to study about oceans. The study you call them as what? Physical geography. Make it very simple. Study about land, study about air, study about water. Study about land, landforms, lithosphere. Study about air, atmosphere. Study about water, hydrosphere. That's it. You couple all these three together, my dear friends, right? Lithosphere, atmosphere, hydrosphere. Where land, air and water comes together, you have what? Biosphere, the life-bearing sphere. Right? If at all, if I am just studying that, you call them as what? Physical geography. Right? Even biosphere, we are not including human being. That is what? Flora and fauna. Right? This is what you call them as what? Physical geography. Okay. Now comes the human geography. As I said, what exactly you will be studying in this human geography, my friend? Right? In human geography, I will be studying about the social setup of human being and of course the economic landscape, my friend. When I just study about the social setup, right? As I said, right, the linguistic basis, right, the population geography, settlement geography, anything with population, right? I call them as what? Social geography. Right? I call them as social geography. Right, if I am talking about the resource, I call them as what? Economic geography. Right. Now, what I am showing you is very simple. If you ask me what exactly are the major divisions of geography, right, I would say either you can divide geography into two major areas. What are they? Physical and human, or three major areas. Right. If at all, if I say three major areas, what are they? It is physical, social, and economic geography. Human geography. The other name of human geography is what? Socio-economic geography. Social and economic put together, you call them as what? Socio-economic geography. Right. Right, my dear. These are the major areas or divisions what we have in what? Geography. Okay. So let me consolidate. So if you ask me, what are the major divisions? So as I said, divisions are, right, either you put it as 2 or you put it as what? 3, whatever it is. Now comes the approach. How I will be studying geography. Right, what exactly is the area that I will be studying? Right? If I am just taking a confined area, say for example a very small area, right, I call this study as what? Regional geography. If I am just studying geography of the entire world, then I call them as what? World geography. Right? So if you just talk about the approaches, how exactly I can study this subject. And talk about approach, at least 2 approaches we have. One you call them as what? Right, world geography, right? Or I would say, right, you call them as what? Universal approach. My handwriting is not actually this bad. Okay, right. Reading is that the gadget is not helping me. No. What I call them as what? Universal approach. What is this universal approach? Right. Entire Earth I will be studying, not the universe. Entire Earth I will be studying. Right. If that is the case, I will be calling it as what? Universal approach. The second approach I call them as what? A regional approach versus a regional approach. Right. What is a regional approach? Anything which is smaller than the world. You call them as what? A region. A region can be a continent, region can be a country, region can be a state, district, whatever it is. Right. That's what you call them as what? Region. And if I'm just giving an example, universal, like what exactly is universal, you call them as what? World geography. Right? And the regional approach, plenty are there, but I'm just giving you an example, you call them as what? Indian geography. Correct? If at all, if I'm just studying the geography of my country, I call them as what? Indian. Now, if I consolidate, say for example, I am a student, I have enrolled for this BA geography. You ask me what are the different areas I will be studying. Right, as I said, I will be studying 2 or 3 major areas. Right? Physical and human, or physical, social and economic geography. If I just talk about the approach, either I will be studying the same with the world, or I will be studying the same with what? India. Am I right? Now I will go for a combination. Right? This division and approach combination. Right? Now I will make it very simple. When I talk about division, right? Let me keep it as 2. What are the 2 divisions I have? Physical versus human. Am I right? And when I talk about the approach, right? What are the different approaches we have? Either you have what? World approach or the Indian approach. If you are studying geography from India, you will be studying about Indian geography. Now you tell me, what are the different combinations I can make? What are the different combinations of my study will come? Can I say for example, somebody who is studying about what? Physical geography of the world. Right? Then I can have a combination called as what? Physical geography of what? India. Then I can have a combination called as what? Human geography of world and human geography of India. The difference, if you ask me, the 4 NCRTs what you have in class 11 and 12, the same 4 NCRTs. Am I right? The same 4 NCRTs. I have 1 NCRT for physical geography of the world. 1 NCRT for what? Physical geography of India. The second NCRT you call them as what? Human geography of the world and human geography of India. So, if you want to study geography, These are the only 4 areas you have to study. As simple as this. Correct? Even any competitive examination you study, right? These are the 4 areas what you'll be having. Physical geography of the world, physical geography of India, human geography of world and human geography of India. This is entire geography. Correct? So if you're studying geography from this country, these are the 4 major areas I will study. Now why is that I have told about geography, I was explaining about geography, it's very simple. Right? I was giving you an analysis, how exactly you can decode this syllabus. Right, my dear friends, I'm just going back to this syllabus. Right? Can you read the syllabus once again now? India, world geography. Right? Further they are saying what? They said India and world geography. And UPSC is helping you out. Right? They are explaining what exactly they are trying to say. Right? Physical, social, economic geography of India means what? Right? I'll read it once again for you. It is physical, social and economic geography of India and world. My dear friends, what they are saying, it is physical, social and economic geography of India and world. It means, what is that you have to study? For preliminary examination, geography, what is that you will be studying? Entire geography. Whatever you suspect that is part and parcel of geography, you have to what? Study. Right? So that's the reason I said preliminary examination is slightly different. Not only preliminary examination, any examination where the syllabus is not detailed, right? Preparation becomes difficult. But still I give you, say for example, a way to beat out, okay? A way to overcome. Right? My dear friends, if syllabus is not clear, what exactly you will be doing? Number one, I said, you should understand the syllabus. Somewhere if I am just having difficulty in understanding the syllabus, what is the second most important exercise I have done? Any competitive examination. The entire state. Previous year's question paper. At least 5 years question paper. If at all, if this examination is not happening every year, try to collect 5 previous years examination question paper. I am talking about minimum. Somewhere if you are going for the previous year's questions, you will know what exactly is the, say for example, right, the areas where the questions are getting concentrated. Today's civil service examination, how to beat out this means almost the difficulty of prelims if you ask me. I would say this previous year's question, right, makes a big difference. Somewhere if I can analyze some 10 years of the past year's question, 10 past year's question, right, almost I know what exactly will be the nature and the type of the question will be asked, right, in the examination. Doing the past year's questions is very, very important. Okay. So I have just given you a funda of competitive examination. I call it as an SOP. Number one, try to understand the syllabus. Number two, any examination you write, always have previous year's question, at least 5 years. Right? See, if the examination would have happened only for 2 years, certainly you cannot search for 5 years. Right? Don't be so theoretical engaged. Right? Say for example, assume somewhere we have introduced, see, it means UPSC has introduced CSAT for the first time. Right? To look for the CSAT pattern, I cannot look for previous year's questions. Okay, there is a limitation. If it is available, go for it. And my dear friends, number 3, again I would say it's a golden rule. If you ask me what is the third principle, only 3 principles. Right? Number 1, as I said, understand the syllabus. Right? Practice previous year's question paper. Number 3, very, very important. Right? Shortlist the material. Right? You call them as what? Study. How a study material should be. Somewhere if you ask me how the study material should look like, I would say the study material should be as minimum as possible, but it should cover maximum syllabus. Never look for a book which covers 100% of syllabus. Because what is 100%? The syllabus itself will not be. Correct? Only thing is that maximum part of this book is covering, be happy. In that case, let me tell you, right? The NCERT covers the maximum syllabus for the major, right, subjects. History and geography, hardly I advise students to go beyond NCERT. Quality, that's okay. Quality, you have one universal book called as Lakshmi. You heard about Lakshmi, right? Economy, you have to go beyond what? Right, this NCERT. But history and geography, my friend, NCERT will give you a fantastic knowledge. Right. That too, I am not telling means geography. If you ask me, I am not even advocating this class 11 and 12. What I am advocating is class 6 to class 10 NCERT. Read it. And any competitive examination, there is one more fundamental. Do not read many material. Always there is a golden rule. You have heard about the statement also, right? They always say it is always better to read one book 10 times than to read 10 books once. Right? Shortlist the material. Do maximum number of revision. That's the fun. Okay. Right. And one more. Right. Understanding the syllabus, I'll tell you. Right. The first and second para may not be so useful for you. Maybe the third paragraph, I'll just tell you how to decode the syllabus. Okay. Can you read this third paragraph? So simple. Right? It says what? Important geophysical phenomena such as earthquake, tsunami, volcanic activity, cyclones. Alright. Only first part. Second part, I am not interested. Right. Now, my dear friends, only 4 topics. They have given only 4 topics. First, I have to read about what? Earthquake. Right? Tsunami is not a separating. Right? Tsunami itself, you call that as what? Seismic sea wave. Right? And of course, when I talk about Andaman, Andaman is prone to both. Andaman is actually prone to earthquake, tsunami, right? Even volcanic activity. Right? When I talk about Barren, very recently, 2017, it has become what? Active. Right? Earlier it was 1991, 92, it has become active. Right? So, though Barren is not a disaster yet, but again, right, it is confined to Andaman. Right? When I talk about cyclone, again Andaman is prone to what? Cyclone. That is the case. Right. Almost in my life I have seen a movie. Right. So only 4 topics we are going to read. Okay. Hardly it will take a day or 2 days, not more. But if you ask me, is this paragraph is as easy as what it appears if you ask me, I would say no. Right. There is one word which makes this paragraph very tricky. Can you identify which is the word I am talking about? Can you identify it? Read it. Important geophysical phenomena such as earthquake, tsunami, volcanic activity, cyclone, etc. Etc. means what? Etc. means etc. Correct. It means anything and everything can be asked. Right. Now comes the biggest question. And we know UPSC, past 5 years, they have asked a question only from this words. No cyclone, no volcanic activity. Now what's the biggest question? Can you decode these words like etc.? If you can decode words like etc., there will not be any grey area in your syllabus. If grey area is not there in your syllabus, 50% of your preparation is over. Okay? That is what I call them as what? The third level or the higher level of understanding. Correct? It is not explicitly preparing only the topic which is mentioned in your syllabus. No. Even for the words like etc., you should. If you are preparing for etc., my dear friends, any competitive examination becomes easy. Now you tell me, right? Is this word etc., can it be decoded? I say yes. Right? If I say yes, what will be the funda? How exactly I can decode this word as etc.? Can I say etc. lies within the sentence? If that is the case, can I say etc. will have the same contextual meaning of what the other topics are having? My dear friends, what is so common among them? Earthquake, tsunami, volcanic activity, cyclone, what are they? Natural disaster. Now I have to prepare that natural disaster, which is not given in my paragraph. Any example?
Landslides,
Fantastic.
droughts,
flood. Over. That's it. I'll tell you, right? Only thing is that I do not know what exactly is etc. Am I right? Right. You have given me flood. You have given me landslide, and some of you have given me drought. Okay. Right. Now, only thing is that I have to go in an orderly fashion. Instead of me decoding, there is an agency, right, which almost classifies this natural disaster. Am I right? You call them as what? NDMA. You heard about NDMA, right? What is NDMA? National Disaster Management. they have classified some of the natural disasters. Okay. Earthquake, flood, landslide, cyclone, tsunami, flood, heat wave, etc. Okay. What is very interesting, volcanic activity is not a disaster in India. Correct. It is just a geophysical phenomenon. Why it is not a disaster? Because I understand, they are isolated islands. Right? Barren is located far away. Narkondam is one of the most, some most isolated islands of Andaman. Right? Narkondam is extinct. You have heard about it, right? No more volcanic activity. But Barren, yes. But even if Barren is going for an eruption, even if it is becoming explosive in nature, it is not going to affect, right, the general settlement. Right? So it is not a disaster as such. Okay. Right, my difference. The only thing is that I have to transfer those things which is not mentioned, right? Say for example, right, in my syllabus, right? Earthquake already it is mentioned, flood is not mentioned. You have said I am taking flood. Am I right? And my dear friends, when I talk about flood, nowadays, flood itself we have classified into two categories. You call them as what? Urban flood and rural flood. Or generally you call them as flood and urban flood. It means what? The same amount of precipitation, same amount of rainfall. If it is happening in somewhere, some rural part, right? Similar amount of precipitation is also happening in Chennai or Mumbai, right? Which is going to get affected more? Mumbai or Chennai. Because I understand urban areas is very vulnerable to water. Chennai, right? Even small drizzle, right? Small drizzle will be there, somewhere will be experiencing flood. Right. So that flood in urban setup, we call them as what? Urban flood. So NDMA says the chances of urban area getting flooded is 6 times more than that of the rural area. So just want to tell you there is also a concept of what? Urban flood in urban areas. Mumbai, Hyderabad, Chennai, even Bangalore for that case. Right? Then landslide, some of you have also talked about what? Landslide, right? Flood also you have given. Am I right? Right? Heat wave you are not given. Okay, even drought if you want to add it, you can add. Now, okay, I went for a systematic analysis. But forget that I am not going for a systematic analysis, just using my rationality. Using my rationality itself, this class itself brought me 3 things. What are they? Right? Some of you have brought drought, some of you have brought landslide, some of you brought what? Flood. I am also including urban flood. Now my dear friends, just look at these questions. Right. These are the questions which is asked in UPSC. Like previous year's question. Himalayas are highly prone to landslide. Discuss the cause and suggest suitable measures to use. Forget about the question. What is the central theme? Landslide. Right? It came from this word etc. And you have decoded. Correct? Right. Major cities in India is becoming more vulnerable to flood conditions. What is that? What is this question? Central theme. Flood. Or in general you call them as what? Flood. In what way can floods be converted into sustainable source of irrigation and all weather inland navigation? Am I right? What exactly is the central theme? That's what I want to tell you. Past 3 years, only the 3 years question I have taken. Right? Past 3 years, even 5 years if you ask me, it came only from this word called as etc. Now comes the question, can this word etc. be decoded? Answer is yes. Never leave any grey area in your syllabus. This rule is not only applicable to UPSC. This rule is applicable to any competitive examination you have. See, since before coming to the class, I already know the composition of the class. Right, what I have told, right, the organizers, right, who are taking so much of pain in means almost arranging this program. Right, I have told them one thing very simple, right. Let me almost say, for example, informally, if not now, later, right. Let me almost know the different examination what you are preparing for. Right. We'll analyze the syllabus. We'll analyze the past year's question. Accordingly, only those areas we do. Right. So if at all, if I am just say, for example, I am just preparing for the examination of Tahsildar, right, you have an examination for Tahsildar also here, right? Preparing for UPSC level of syllabus is not needed, right? Because here, I should understand what is needed for my examination, I should prepare, right? No denial about it. But what is not needed, if you are studying that, is waste of time, right? So you have to understand 2 things. What is needed for my preparation and what is not needed for my profession, try to understand. Right? So eventually we'll do that, right? Never mind, we'll just, right, say for example, prepare a material based on the syllabus. Okay? Right, once we get it, we prepare it, so you can be very specific. Right, some test series will also be conducted. Okay, it means practice is very important. Multiple choice question practice is very important. From our side, we'll also try to take it. Okay, so more you practice, right, the more nearer we are to the examination. Right, my friends. So I've just given you a broad idea of understanding any competitive examination, right, and to understand the syllabus as such. Now what we do, if that is the case, and directly start with my subject, geography. And all that area what I am going to teach now, right? These are the common areas which is there for any examination. It can be for UPSC, civil service, group 1 examination, any examination. Okay. I'll start with a very basic item, slowly study the next time. Whatever is the fact I can means almost put it. Right, my friends. So let's start geography for this. I'll start with a very simple concepts, right? I'll start with the shape of the earth, right? I'll start with the rotation, I'll start with the revolution and so on. Right? If I'm just asking you, right, what is the shape of the earth? What is the shape of the earth? Okay, right, it is more of a sphere, right? To be very precise, if somebody is asking you, what is the shape of the earth? You call them as what? Geoid. Right? And if you ask me, right, what exactly this geoid means, what is the literal meaning of geoid? Right? I would say that geoid means, literal meaning. Geoid literally means earth's shape, my friend. Geoid literally means earth's shape. So what is the shape of the geoid? If I am not using the word geoid, what is the meaning of geoid? Earth shape. So somebody is asking you what is the shape of the earth, you can tell them it is earth shape itself. Right? It means what? Earth has a unique shape. No planet in our solar system exactly resembles the sun. In that order I will tell you, right, I am pretty sure, though we have not analyzed all the planets of the entire universe, I am sure that no other planet will be exactly same as Earth. Right? Because I strongly believe that in every planet, right, even if you are going beyond the solar system, am I right? That should be more like what? Unique in nature. Correct? But unique shape of Earth, I call that as what? Geoid. Now if you want to start describing geoid, right, okay fine, I understand, right, but how will I put it in words, how will I put it in paragraph if you ask me, my dear friend? Earth is more like a sphere. I'm not saying it is a sphere. It is more like a sphere, but there is a bulge at the equator and poles are. It means what? The radius of Earth is not same, right? Everywhere the radius of the Earth is not same, my dear friends. I am just represented in diameters. Am I right? If that is the case, where exactly you have the maximum radius of Earth? Earth is more like a sphere. If you want to write it, you can write it. You can write it as Earth's shape. Write as Earth's shape. Right? Shape of Earth, you can call it as what? Geoid. And you can write it. Earth is more like a sphere. Earth is more like a sphere, but with a bulge at equator. The bulge at equator and poles being relatively flat. Bulge at equator and poles being relatively flat. Right, that's the description. These facts are not needed, but still if you want to take it, you can take it. Equatorial diameter, approximately, if you want even the slides I will share you. Okay. Equatorial diameter is somewhere around 12,756 kilometers. Right? It means if I am just there in equator, right? The equatorial diameter is 12,756 kilometers. But what about the polar diameter? 42 kilometers less than, right? 12,714 kilometers. Right. What is that fact you have to remember here? Very important fact. Where I have the maximum radius of the Earth? Equator. Very good. Somewhere in your own words you can write it. Maximum radius is not the same everywhere. Alright? So the maximum radius is recorded at equator. Where is the minimum radius? Right? Always there is a compensation. Right? Geography comes with compensation. Correct? If you have a surplus at some place, always you will have a deficit. Okay? Right. Now comes one more question. If somebody is asking you why poles are flat, right, I can tell it is all because of what? Equatorial bulge. Right? Because this bulge, my dear friends, I have a bulge at equator, right? So when I talk about this bulge, where exactly the rock is almost coming from? Right? It is almost coming from the polar region. Slowly study it. Right? It means it has a chain reaction. Am I right? The bulge at the equator is making the poles to, right, generally get flat. Very simple. Fill a balloon with water. Right? Right. Assume that it is more a speed. If I start rotating it, right, this balloon will start bulging. If the balloon is starting bulging, it's almost assumed that is more like an equator, right? If at all, if at one place the balloon becomes bulge, another place it will become what? Always there is a compensation. If somebody is asking you why there is flat, why poles are flat, always tell them that it is all because of what? Bulging. Now I am changing the question. Why there is a bulge at the equator? Don't tell me because of poles are flat. Why there is a bulge at the equator? That is important. Any rotating object, any rotating object cannot be a perfect square. Because I have a force which acts outside the center. This force will throw the particles away from the center, including the rock, including the water. Alright, what this force is called as? The same force, the principle, what is used in washing machine. Correct? The principle what dries your clothes. Very good. What is this force? Centrifugal force. Very important. Right? If somebody is asking you why there is a bulge at the equator, right? Right. Somebody is asking you why there is a bulge at the equator, right? You can always tell them it is all because of what? Centrifugal force. All because of what? Centrifugal force. Okay. So let me consolidate. You know some of the very important facts about shape of the Earth. Right. Let me consolidate. What is the shape of the geoid? You know the meaning of geoid. More like a sphere, but bulge at equator, flattened course. Right. Where I have the maximum radius or diameter, where I have the minimum, that much height. Why there is a bulge at the equator, that also I know is all because of what? Centrifugal force. Right, my friends. Right, you may ask why exactly centrifugal force is so maximum at poles. More is the rotational velocity, more will be the centrifugal force. The entire Earth, somewhere if you assume that I am just standing at the surface of the Earth, my friend, where exactly, say for example, simple, right? Entire Earth, all parts of the Earth rotates only in what? 24 hours. Am I right? But I have a person, say for example, assume I have a person standing at the poles. In 24 hours, what will be the distance travelled by him? Only a small distance. Right? If at all he is there at equator, what will be the distance? Large distance. Right? What is speed? Or what is velocity? Distance by time. Right? So more is the distance, more will be the velocity. In that case, you tell me, my dear friends, where exactly the velocity of rotation of Earth at surface will be maximum? Obviously there. Alright. The slides also I will share. Okay. So don't mind, for your reference you can have. Right? Some supplementary notes also I will share. Right. So let us not get into the details of it, but just want to tell you the velocity of rotation at surface is maximum at equator. Right. This is the reason why centrifugal force is maximum at what? Equator. So far, shape we have done. Any doubts in shape? Now, moving forward. The next topic. Yeah, any doubts? And if you are not able to copy this diagram, no problem, right? If possible, evening today or tomorrow you will be getting these slides. Right? Right, my friends. Assuming that you understood the shape of the Earth. Now I am just going for this Earth's movement. Right? What is this Earth's movement? Any idea? What do you mean by this Earth's movement? Earth is not static, right? Earth is having its own movement. What exactly is that? Very good. Right. You call them as what? Rotation and revolution. Very good. What do you mean by rotation? Rotation means rotation. Revolution means revolution. That's right. Okay. But if at all, if you're putting in words, what do you mean by rotation? Simple terms. Right. Simplicity is the key of preparation. Do not complicate your preparation. Even the words, what you write it in the examination, make it as simple as possible. Everybody should understand. In that case, what do you mean by rotation? Very good. Spin of Earth. Right? Earth spins, my friend. The spin of Earth, you call them as what? Rotation. And what is revolution? Movement of this Earth around the Sun, you call them as what? Revolution. But what exactly happens? This rotation and revolution happens simultaneously. Right? Earth is rotating as well as what? Revolving. Alright. Okay. Right. So what is rotation? I have an idea. Spin of Earth on its own axis. I call them as what? Rotation. What is revolution then? Movement of Earth around the Sun. You call them as what? Revolution. Very good. Now, because Earth is rotating, what is the outcome? Fantastic. Day and night. Why am I experiencing this sunrise and sunset? Because of rotation. Day-night difference is because of what? Rotation. If that is the case, what is the outcome of revolution? Seasons. Very good, fantastic. Seasons. Why do you have summer? Right. Why there are winters? Right. Why do I have spring and autumn? Am I right? It is all because of what? Right. Revolution. So somewhere I understand rotation results in what? Day-night difference. Revolution results in what? Seasons. Say for example, summer, right? Autumn, winter, spring. Then again, something. And similarly, if I just talk about one complete rotation, you call them as what? One day rotation. Right? Sunrise to sunrise. You call them as what? One day. One complete revolution, you call them as what? 1 year. Alright. So what is Earth movement? I have an idea. But sometimes what happens? It adds complexities. Why it is adding complexities if you ask me? Rotation and revolution is not an independent thing. Both occurs simultaneous to each other. Means Earth is rotating as well as revolving. This is what adding complexities. Right? I should also understand some of the geographical concepts related to that complexities. Okay, one by one I will start with. First, we will start with the rotation. You can write it as what? Earth's rotation. Right? You can call it as Earth's rotation. Simple terms I am giving you, I am also giving you. Spin of Earth on its own axis. Spin of Earth on its own axis is called as rotation. And one complete rotation is called as 1 day. One complete rotation is called as 1 day. Rotation causes day-night difference. Rotation causes day-night difference. Almost every fundamentals about rotation we have taken. So what is very important? If somebody is asking you, what is the direction of rotation? In what direction Earth rotates?
West to east.
West to east, very good. Just because Earth is rotating from west to east, it is appearing that everything is moving from what? East to west. Which direction sun rises? East and moves towards west. Right. Now comes the question, is it actually the sun is moving or Earth is rotating? Earth is rotating. it is notional, right? It is perceptional that it appears as though sun is moving. See, sun is also moving. I am not telling things. Almost I am not denying that sun is moving, right? But not at this. Correct. So because Earth is rotating from, my dear friends, west to east, everything appears that it is rising in the east and moving in the west. Which direction this means? Say for example, when I talk about moon, which direction moon rises? Funda is very simple. Same. Which direction sun rises? Which direction moon rises? East. Which direction generally star rises? East. Pole stars are exceptions. Right? But majority of the star rises in which direction? East and moves towards what? West. Right. Why exactly it appears that every celestial object is moving towards the west? It is because of the fact that Earth itself is moving from what? West to east. Okay. So this fact is very, very important. And normally people ask, right? Is this Earth rotating in clockwise or counterclockwise direction? Correct? That is one of the stupid questions that anybody can ask. Because you cannot say that. Say for example, assume that I am just putting myself here, right, over the top of North Pole, right? It appears as though Earth is rotating in what? Counterclockwise direction, right? If I am just putting myself, right, somewhere below South Pole, and if I am just seeing this Earth's rotation, it looks like what? Clockwise direction. If somebody is asking, right, which direction Earth rotates, and they are giving something like what? Clockwise or anti-clockwise, it means they have not understood geography. Right? So always remember it is west to east. No counterclockwise or clockwise. Right? So everything about rotation you know, my friends. Now what I do now? All these facts, what I have given you is basic facts. Right? It is there in lower class NCERT also. Now I will add complexities. What is the complexities I am going to add? Maybe I'll ask a question, then I'll just add complexity. Right, my dear friends, we are talking about rotation. Right. And somewhere we know one complete rotation you call them as what? 1 day. Am I right? Okay. Now I'll ask you a simple question. Okay. The answer to this question may not be as simple as it appears. Right. I'll ask you one question. How much time does this Earth take to complete, right, 360-degree of rotation on its own axis? Put it very simple. How much time Earth take to complete one rotation on its axis? 5 minutes. Right, my dear friends, I asked you one simple question, right? Okay. How much time? Right. I'll ask you another question. Right. I have a good news also for you. Right. The class timing is over, so you're free to go. Okay. Right. So I asked you a very simple question. Right. How much time does Earth takes to complete one rotation?
1 day.
Very good. 1 day. But put it in time. 360-degree of rotation on its own axis. How much time does Earth takes? You say it is 24 hours. I am giving you a clue, my dear friends. If you ask me what is the clue, it is not 24 hours. Very good. If you ask me what exactly is the time?
23 hours, 56 minutes, 40.
Right. Approximately you are right somewhere. It is 23 hours. Right. 56 minutes. The next class is tomorrow's class. Okay. So somewhere I am just concluding the class here. The slides I will try to share as soon as possible. Right? Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Just want to know about you. In this crowd, how many of you are preparing for civil service jobs? Okay. How many of you are preparing for other competitive examinations? It can be any competitive examination. Is there anybody who's preparing for bank examination? To be very precise? No. Right. This understanding your composition. See, okay, right. Okay, 3 or 4 you are preparing for civil service, right? Almost I'll just repeat the same content what I was just teaching the other batch, the earlier batch one. Means whom they have left, means at least just now they have left, right? Before that, I am Chilean, so I have just come from Chennai, right? I was previously an assistant commandant with CRPF. You heard about CRPF? So I was also got selected through UPSC, right? Selection is through UPSC. I also worked in Armed Forces Service. I also qualified this, right? Civil service examination of UPSC, right? Now here, one thing I understand. The entire class is not preparing for the same examination, right? So, me teaching the syllabus only for civil service examination may not be useful. That's what my understanding is. But what I will do, I will select some common areas, right? Common areas which is there for all competitive examination, correct? Now, I hope you have a broad idea about this competitive examination, right? Let's see here, when I talk about India, there are only 2 types of competitive examination. I would say 3 types, right? Number 1, examination which is based on aptitude. You understand what is an aptitude? Like say for example, bank examinations. Right? Bank examination is purely based on aptitude. Right? What are the different areas you will be having? And one more thing let me tell you. How many of you, say for example, have fear of this mathematics? Right? You are fearing so. Only few hands, very good. Right? Somebody was adjusting their hair also. Okay, right. One thing what I want to tell you, this aptitude is not mathematics. Never. It means almost think that aptitude is mathematics, right? When I talk about mathematics, yes, maths-based questions are there. You call them as what? General mental ability. But in your aptitude, not more than 20% of the questions will be maths-based, right? You'll be having comprehension, you'll be having verbal, non-verbal reasoning, right? You'll be having syllogism, right? So all these things I understand, my friend, they lie outside the purview of mathematics. So aptitude is not mathematics. So what I want to tell you, there are set of examination which is based on aptitude. Say for example, you have heard about this IBPS, right? For example, the bank examinations will be conducted by this IBPS. Right? When I talk about National Insurance Corporation Limited, again, there is an exam which is based on what? Predominantly, you have heard about this SSC, Staff Selection Commission. Right? Predominant question will be based on that. Okay. I understand there are set of examination which is based on aptitude. On the other hand, if you ask me, what is the other set of examinations we have? I would say it is based on general studies. Correct? Say for example, when I talk about civil service examination, when I talk about CAPF, Central Armed Police Force examination, when I talk about CDS, you have heard about CDS? Right? Combined Defense Service. That's the examination through which you will be entering what? Armed forces in our country. Alright. You have heard about this IB Intelligence Bureau? Very recently notification was out. Alright. You have heard about this ACIO, right? Assistant Central Intelligence Officer. Alright. If you ask me that, okay, what exactly is the predominant syllabus? Right, again I would say it is general studies. Correct? So there are plenty of examination which is based on general studies. But if at all, if I am just comparing general studies versus aptitude, right, which is easy to prepare if you ask me, obviously speaking, aptitude is easier to do. 3 months. If you want to enter as a manager in any exams or any bank, right, probationary office, right, maximum preparation period needed is what? 3 to 4 months, not more. If you are almost taking more than 4 months, it means, right, you are not having the focus and orientation. Somewhere the lack of understanding is there. Right. But when I talk about general studies based examination, that is certainly going to take more time. Right. Say for example, when I talk about minimum period needed for GS based examination is somewhere around 6 months. But if you ask me, say for example, examination like civil service examination, it may take at least longer. There are people who are preparing for years together, right? Let us not take them as an example. Okay. So understanding says aptitude based examination is slightly simpler than GS based examination. My dear friends, life is always based on return on investment. Right? The more you invest, more you will have returns. It means, why I am saying this is very simple. Any higher post you take in this country, correct? Right. If at all, if you want to enter this higher post, say for example the maximum direct entry post in any organization, most of the organization, right, they have examination which is based on GS. Right. If you just want to get a job, right, just for the sake of getting a job, if you want, say for example, more certainty in job fetching, then I would recommend, yes, aptitude itself should be more than enough. If you are aspiring for a specific job, higher echelons of this bureaucracy, then GS or general studies becomes inevitable part of your preparation. Somewhere, right, I have also spoken to the organizers, right. You will be concentrated or you will be imparted portion on both, okay? General studies as well as the aptitude. And as I said, only very few are there who is preparing for civil service examination. Right? Will be very specific. Okay. So will let us know, at least I know that what exactly the examination what you are preparing for. Once I know the syllabus, right, we'll select the topic and we'll have the classes accordingly. Okay. Everything is one-sided. Now, what we learned means, at least discuss in this class, number one, we'll try to understand the funda of any competitive examination in this country. Right? Number two, at least we'll start with the subject itself. So, assume that you are preparing for any examination, irrespective of this examination. Say for example, you are preparing for some competitive examination. Right? It may be your civil service examination, CAPF, whatever it is. Okay. Assume that it is general studies based examination. There are some SOPs that we have to do. Right, you call them as what? Standard operating procedure. Alright? Right. These are the basics. I call them as what? Foundation. If you ask me what exactly is the systematic way I should prepare for any examination, if you ask me, right, I'll tell you one by one. And first and foremost, you should remove the thought process that civil service examination is a difficult examination. I am saying, right, at least once I have qualified the final, suppose this examination, twice I was there in interview, 2 UPSC examination, finally I was qualified. I am telling you, UPSC is not difficult. I am not saying UPSC is easy. Right, only I am communicating is very simple. What I am communicating is very simple. UPSC is not difficult. Only thing is that you should understand the process. Not only UPSC, not only civil service examination, any competitive examination you take it, first and foremost you should understand the process. Now I am asking you, right, if you want to prepare for any competitive examination, what is the first step you do? Let it be anything different. It can be civil service, it can be anything. What is the very first step you do? Just asking you. Let it be more like an interaction, maybe 5-10 minutes. Then we'll just get into the subject. What is the very first thing you will do, right, when you start preparing for any competitive examination? Not only competitive examination. It can be your school examination, it can be your college examination, whatever it is. Fantastic. Syllabus. Know the syllabus. Right? If you do not know the syllabus, what you are preparing, you will not know about the same. Alright? Because in this examination, 2 things are very important. What to study is very important. What is equally important is what not to study. Alright? Because most of the time what happens, you will be spending more time in those areas where the questions will not be asked. Why? Because if you ask me, because it is not part of your syllabus. My dear friends, know your syllabus. I would say decode the syllabus. Know each and every part of the syllabus, every word of the syllabus. That is very important. Somewhere if I know each and every word of the syllabus, if I can have the subtopics of the grey areas in the syllabus, my dear friends, half of my preparation is over. Right? Know the syllabus. Number 2, right, shortlist a study material, right, which is based on this syllabus. Never look for a material which covers 100% of the syllabus, because there is no book of that kind. Correct? Search for a material which covers maximum part of the syllabus. And the funda of selecting the material should be in such a way, this material should be as small as possible, but it should cover maximum syllabus. Alright? Sometimes I call them as what Pareto optimality, something like that. Okay. Size, the content should be minimum, coverage of the syllabus should be maximum. It means this book should not have junk. Avoid junk in your preparation. What is not needed for my examination, kindly omit it. Right? Leave it. How to take a call on that, how to decide whether it is a junk or a content, you should know this things. And my dear friends, the third thing, equally important, what you should do for any competitive examination, always analyze past year's question. Right? These three, you do it as a fundamental. I'm telling you, these are mantras. Right? This is what an SOP of any competitive examination, right, will have. Number one, let me tell you, understand the syllabus, decode the syllabus, shortlist the study material, right? Always analyze the past year's questions. At least 5 years of the, right, almost the previous years. Okay. If it is not available, don't wait. Say for example, assume only 1 year previously this examination was conducted. Right, I'll be having question paper of only 1 year. Right, I cannot search for 5 years, right? So let us not be theoretical, let us be practical. Right, whatever is the question paper of the past, you can collect it, you analyze it, right? You grade it, you group it. Right? So somewhere you will know that which area is important and which area is not. So somewhere I have just given you an idea. Okay, right. Now, any competitive examination that is based on general studies, okay, including civil service examination. If you ask me what exactly is the syllabus, I am asking you, at least you had an exposure of the syllabus of UPSC. Have you ever seen it? At least you have heard about it. What are the different subjects you study for UPSC? Assume that you are preparing for civil service examination, the mother of all examination. There is no examination which is tougher than civil service examination in India. That I am pretty sure. This is the most toughest examination, right? That is very sure. Alright. In the toughest examination, what are the subjects we are covering?
History,
Very good. History, geography, polity, economy, environment. Alright. These are the 5 areas, my friend. If you ask me, 80% of the question comes from which 5 areas? The 5 areas what you have told me, right? What I have acknowledged. What are they? History, geography, polity, economy, environment. Now comes the question. Right. Did you study history in your schools? Answer is yes. Did you study geography in your school? Answer is yes. Between history and geography in your schools, my dear friends, class 6 to 10, always there is one middle part which was hiding in between. We call them as what? Civics. Right. What I used to call it as civics in my school. Right. Today, in civil service preparation, I call it as what? Polity. What is civics is nothing but what? Polity. Right. What is environment? The same history and geography, I started only from class 6. What is this subject? Right. Till my class 5 was called as. You call them as what? EVS. I would have heard about EVS, right? What is this EVS? Right? Leave about economy. Right. Leaving about economy, if you ask me, out of the 5 areas, 4 areas is nothing but those areas what I have studied in schools. That's the reason I always have the strongest intuition that class 10 student, right, a person who is studying in class 10 will perform better than the person who is exclusively preparing for civil service examination. Only thing is that he is not eligible to write. Okay, 21 years is the minimum age what it is needed for this examination. The so-called toughest examination in this country itself, my friend, if you ask me what is the syllabus, syllabus is what? School syllabus. Right? Understand. But still, this examination is not easy. Syllabus may be easy, my dear friend, but competition makes it difficult. No? Whatever be the case, let it be difficult. Only thing is that we have to make these things, for example, certain. Okay. Not only civil service, my friend. I have told you 5 areas, right? 5 broad areas. These are the 5 broad areas you will be preparing for any competitive examination which is based on general studies. I do not know how many of you have seen the recent notification called as ACL, right? Assistant Central Intelligence Officer, one of the finest posts what you can have. You heard about Intelligence Bureau, IB? You have heard about RAW?
Yes.
RAW is an external, right, almost, right, for example, intelligence agency which gathers intelligence outside the border. IB gathers intelligence from within the world. Alright. So if you ask me which is the direct highest recruitment or entry where you can enter this IB, Intelligence Bureau, this is the post. ACAO, very recently. I think the notification, I don't know whether the cutoff date is over or not, but very recently the notification came. Okay, somewhere around 1,500 posts out there. I'm not really sure about the number, but many posts out there. Okay. And if you ask me what exactly is the syllabus, I would say syllabus is what? General studies. And when I say general studies, my friend, again I am insisting, there are 5 broad areas. Somewhere if you want to write it, you can write it. What are the 5 broad areas of GS preparation? I'll just give you 5 broad areas. At least for geography, what is the minimum material what I should study, that also I'll give you. Other subject respective faculties will be given. Number 1, my friend, any competitive examination if you are preparing for, the most important subject, what is the most important subject? Is polity. Polity, Indian polity. Did Manoj sir say it is history?
No.
Right. I'm just saying, even geography I'm not insisting. The most important, say for example, out of any, and you call them as what? Indian polity. It's Indian polity. Maybe the second subject, right? You can take it as what? History. Right. History. Number 3 is economy. Economy. Number 4 it is geography. Number 5 it is environment. Environment. Only 5 areas I am just giving. Polity, history, economy, geography and environment.
Why is economy not economics?
Right, economics also includes microeconomics. Right, we will be focusing only on macroeconomics. That's the reason it is economy and economics. Right. 5 areas I have just given. Alright. If you want to add one more area, you can add it. You can also add general science. See, general science is nothing but what? Your physics, chemistry, and biology. Right? So any competitive examination based on GS, these are the areas what you will be preparing. If you want to add one more area, you can add it. Current affairs. Current affairs. But if you are not preparing for civil service examination, do not go for in-depth current affairs analysis. Generally you say, like if you are preparing for civil service, yes, right, reading newspaper is very essential, right? Alright, because the Hindu newspaper itself becomes a textbook, right? Otherwise, what we recommend is very simple. Follow some monthly magazine, right? That should be more than enough, right? Any monthly magazine which is simple in its features. Okay. Right. So somewhere I have just given you 7 areas, and at least geography I'll just tell you that what is the material you can study. Right. Class 6 to 10 NCRTs, my friend. Maybe regarding history, Manoj sir will be telling about the same. So when I talk about geography, it is class 6 to 10 NCRT. Right. Now, I told you that there are few SOPs what has to be followed for any competitive examination preparation. Right. I told you number 1 comes what? Understanding the syllabus. Now, at least I'll just show you the syllabus of civil service examination. Okay. Though you are not preparing for civil service examination, you know the scheme of this examination, right? Right? What are the different stages? At least you know that there is one examination called as preliminary and one examination called as mains examination. You know that? Okay. If I'm just asking you, Preliminary examination versus mains examination method. Which examination is easy?
Mains.
Actually speaking, both are difficult. Okay, right. But comparatively, if you ask me, right, if I'm just using this word comparative terms, right? Comparatively, mains examination is easier than prelims. But comes the question. Say, for example, I said you have to understand the syllabus first. And if you ask me, right, what exactly is the syllabus of preliminary examination, I tell you, the entire syllabus of preliminary examination is given only in 7 lines. Only in 7 lines or 7 paragraphs. But if you ask me mains examination they are given in 7 pages. Right? You have a small mini booklet. Right? 7 pages, your syllabus itself runs through. Now I'm asking an innocent question. Right? Which is easy to prepare?
Mains.
7, okay. That is okay. Right. Recorded, okay. I'm asking you very simple. Okay. Forget about mains or prelims. Right? 7 lines of syllabus is easy to prepare, or 7 pages of syllabus is easy to prepare? 7 lines. Actually, it is 7 pages. I'll tell you. Because, right, you said mains examination is easy. Why? Because the syllabus is given in a detailed fashion. What exactly you have to prepare, including the subtopic there. Right? But prelims, you do not enjoy that sophistication. Right? Preliminary examination, what you have is just an indicative syllabus. Right? You cannot even almost decode the syllabus in what? Prelims. But mains it is not the case. Every word I will decode it. See what I have just say, for example, I have brought a small comparison between the syllabus comparison of mains versus prelim only in the subject of geography. Because geography is my subject. Okay. I have 3 paragraphs of syllabus in mains examination for geography, only 1 sentence in prelims. Right, if somebody is coming and asking me, right, how much time will you take, or one person will take to prepare this particular syllabus, but fully. You said, okay, entire syllabus, 100% of the syllabus, right, he should study or she should study. Somebody is asking. I'll read it for you. Is it visible? Visible? Okay, I'll read it at least. It says Indian and world geography. Further, UPSC elaborates on it, right? It says physical, social, and economic geography of, right, India. If somebody is coming and asking, right, I should cover all the topics in this line, how much time I take? My first answer, I say, I do not know. Right? If further she or he insists, I will say at least 1 year. Okay, 1 year. And somebody is asking, okay, fine, 1 sentence or 1 line is going to take 1 year. Then how many days these 3 paragraphs of syllabus will take? I will say 10 to 15 days. Right? 3 paragraphs will take only 10 to 15 days, but 1 line will take 1 year. If you ask me why, answer is very simple. Right here, my dear friends, it is given in a detailed fashion. What is the topic, what is the subtopic, everything is salient features of world physical geography. Right? Among the 3 paragraphs, if you ask me which will take more time, I would say para number 1, because it is not explained in detail. Right? When I talk about para 2, distribution of key natural resources across the world, right? Factors responsible for the location of primary, secondary, and tertiary sector industries in various parts of the world. And somewhere I understand that they are given topic by topic. When I come to 3rd paragraph, life is becoming more easy. They say important geophysical phenomena such as earthquake. They are saying explicitly, you prepare for earthquake. You prepare for what? Tsunami. You prepare for organic activity cycle. So, topic by topic they are explaining. But when it comes to preliminary examination, we do not have a detailed syllabus. We have indicative syllabus. Now I'll give you the meaning of it. Right? It says what? India and world geography. Again I am reading it. It says physical, social, and economic geography of India. First, I will try to understand what is geography. Right? Then I will just talk about the syllabus. Okay. Say for example, I am just talking about this geography, subject geography. Assume that you are a student, right, who are going to study geography in your UG or PG. Okay. Now comes the question, geography, geography. What exactly this geography or geography means? And I am giving you a clue. Most of the concepts in geography the word itself will explain. Somewhere if you can almost cut open the word, you can split it up, right, the meaning is delivered. Right, for example, earthquake. Right, what do you mean by earthquake? Quake means what? Shaking. Shaking of earth, you call them as what? Earthquake. Right, somewhere the word itself will give you the concept. Right, that's the reason never I will ask a student to leave a question in geography. At least you should give it a try. Am I right? And most of the time it will work. In that order, my friend, what do you understand by geography?
Definition of geography is geo means earth and graphy means description.
Fantastic.
So it is the description of the earth.
As simple as this. Perfect. It is nothing but what study of earth. Right. Geography means graphy is a study. Geo is earth. It means I am going to study about earth, my friend. Am I right? Right. So for example, see, no subject is so easy to be defined. If it is such easy to be defined, this will not exist as a subject. Am I right? So only thing is that I have to carry a meaning, so I am just bringing a word for it. Right? I am going to study about earth. Now comes another question. Okay, fine. I am going to study about earth. What are the different divisions or what are the different areas I have in this geography, if you ask me? I will say that this geography can be majorly divided or classified into two broad gamuts. I call them as what? Divisions or areas of geography. If you ask me that what are they, I would say it is physical and human geography. Okay. So if you want to classify, divide geography into two broad areas, right? You can classify as what? Physical geography. And you can call them as what? Human geography. Physical geography and human geography. Right, now comes the question. What is that I will be studying in physical geography? I would say that physical geography you will be studying about what? Earth. And human geography, what exactly you will be studying? You will be studying about what? World. Now comes another question, right? Is there any difference between these two words? Earth and world? Is there any difference? Yes. Just because there exists a difference, there are two different words. Otherwise, what is the fun in having two different words, right? Now, how to understand? Okay, I will not understand with this earth and world. Let me give you an example where every day we use this parlance. House. Sometimes you call them as what? Home. Is there any difference between house and home?
Yes.
Obviously, yes. My dear friends, you tell me what exactly you mean by house. House versus home. Right? What exactly is the difference? What is very near, you call them as what? House. Far away, you call them as what? Home. What is this house and home? How many of you are coming from your house? I hope nobody, right? So what exactly you mean by house? What is the home? Give it a try. See, I'll tell you, most of the answers to the question what is asked, actually you know the answer. But what you do not know, right, is that you know. Okay. You know the answer, but you do not know that you know the answer. That's what the simple problem is. Give it a try. What do you mean by house? Never mind being wrong. Houses?
All about bricks and infrastructure.
Fantastic. House is just a structure. House is just a physical entity. Right? House is just a structure which is made up of what? Brick and mortar. I mean, it is just a building. On what occasion this building becomes a home? When
All about family and
Very good.
relations.
Right. When you have this family setup, when you have a socio-economic setup, then this house becomes what? Home, my dear friends. See, can I say, house is just what? A physical entity, is just physical in nature. Just a building, just a physical entity. Am I right? Right? The same house becomes home when this house, right, is filled with the family life. Am I right? Family is nothing but what? The presence of human. The presence of socio-economic structure, you call them as what? Family. Am I right? So what is the basic difference between house and home I have in mind? Right? If I have just a physical entity, just physical in nature, right, I call them as what? House. This house along with the human being's presence, I call them as what? Home. the same meaning you apply to it. If I study the earth in isolation of human being, if I study only the physical entity of this earth, I call them as what? Physical geography. Alright? I'm going to study about what? Land. I'm going to study about air. I'm going to study about water. Right? Land you call them as what? Lithosphere. Air you call them as what? Atmosphere. Water you call them as what? Hydrosphere. So if I'm going to study about the physical entity of this earth without including human beings, I call them as what? Physical geography. If I'm going to study about world or the earth along with the human being, you call them as what? Human geography. As simple as this. Okay. So it means I'll be studying about the social economic structure of human being. Am I right? I'll be studying about the population. I'll be studying about the population growth, distribution, settlement, linguistic organization, right? Almost the racial and the, right? I put it this way, it is all about the cultural landscape I'll be studying. I'll be calling it as what? Human geography. On the other hand, I'll be studying about the resources, the economic, right? The nature of human being, everything I'll be studying about. I call them as what? Human geography. Okay. So what is physical and human geography? We have an idea, right? Okay. Right. Now, my dear friends, somewhere, when I talk about human geography, this human geography itself, sometimes you call them as what? Socio-economic geography. The other name of human geography, you call them as what? Socio-economic geography. Because what exactly you will be studying in this human geography? Number one is what? The social geography. And two is what? The economic geography. Right. Now what I want to tell you, entire geography, if you ask me, what are the broad areas or divisions I have in geography? I would say, right, either you can classify them as two or you can classify them as three. If I say two, it is physical and human. If I classify it as three, what are they? Physical, social and economic geography. These are the broad areas of geography. Okay, right. Now comes another area. What is the approach? Geography itself is a spatial study. Like when I talk about spatial study, right? What exactly is a space, you know, right? I'll be studying about different places of same time. History is a temporal study, right? We call it as a what? Temporal study. We'll be studying about the same place but different time. Alright. Now in that case, right, if I'm just talking about the approach, what are the different approach I can have? What are the different approaches I can have for geography? Right, my friends. Right. I was just talking about the approach. Approach means the area, what exactly you select for your studies. Okay. When I talk about the approach, whether what exactly is the area you select. If entire universe or entire earth you select, you call them as what? Universal geography. Right? Sometimes you call them as what? World geography. Somewhere if I am just selecting only a region for my study, I will be calling it as what? Regional geography. So let me give you, when I talk about this approach, at least we have two approaches to it. Approach is all about area what you select. You call them as what? Universal approach versus a regional approach. See, I said geography is a study of earth. Somewhere, some land or some area I should select for my study. If entire earth I am studying, I call them as what? Universal approach. The other name for universal approach, I call them as what? World geography. I call them as what? World geography. And anything which is less than the world, I call them as what? Region. A region can be a continent, region can be a country, region can be a state, right? region can be a district, whatever it is. But if you ask me, give me one example of a region, I would say country will be the best example. Right? If at all, if I am studying about India, the geography about India, I call them as what? Indian geography. Finest example, right? I give it as what? Indian geography. Right. See here, what I have actually shown you, or what I am just trying to give you, is very simple, my friend. I am just showing you the different approaches, right? And the different divisions what I am having in geography. Let me give it. Somewhere I said entire geography can be divided into how many areas, broad areas? Either it is 2 or 3. What are they? You call them as what? Physical, social and economic. Right. Depending upon the area what I am selecting for my study, I call them as what? Approach. Right. What are the 2 approaches I have at least selected? One is universal, entire world you study. You call them as what? World. Only the specific area I said. I said specific area can be anything. But what is its popular specific area? If at all, if I am just preparing from this country, I will be selecting India as the region. So that geography I call them as what? Indian geography. So my dear friends, right, if you ask me that what are the broad areas I will be having in geography, it is all about the combination. I will arrive at this combination. Divisions. We had 2. What are they? You call them as what? Physical and human. It is physical versus human. What are the approach we had? When I talk about the approach is all about what? World versus India. It is all about world versus India. Okay. Now, generally, if you just say, for example, assume you have history, right? What are the different segments or subject divisions of history you have? What are the different history you will be studying? You will be studying about what? Of course, Indian history and world history, but in Indian history itself, you will be having what? Ancient, medieval and modern. But if you ask me, how exactly the study of geography is divided? Study of geography is divided with all these combinations. 2 divisions and 2 approaches. How many combinations you have? I have 2 divisions and I have 2 approaches. What are the different combinations I have? Can I say number 1? I will be studying about what? Physical geography of the world. Number 2, I will be studying about physical geography of India. Number 3, I will be studying about human geography of world. And number 4, I will be studying about what? Human geography of India. So for example, if you want to study geography, there will be only 4 areas. Even if you ask me, what are the 4 books I have in class 11 and 12 NCERT? These are the only 4 books. Right? I have exactly 4 books. One book is for world physical geography. The second book is for Indian physical geography. Third book is for world human geography, and the 4th book is for India human geography. Right? So why exactly I have these 4 areas in geography? It is all because of what? The divisions and approaches. Okay. So any student who is preparing for geography, not only for competitive examination, say for example he is almost studying his PG or UG, what are the 4 broad areas he will be covering if you ask me? I would say these are the 4 broad areas. Physical geography of the world, physical geography of India, human geography of the world and human geography of India. Right? This is the complete geography. These 4 combinations, right, makes geography complete. This is complete geography. Right? Each and every subject itself has so many topics. Right? Now, somewhere I have given you an idea about what? Geography. What is geography? What are the different branches of geography? I have this much here. Now, with this idea, I just want to show you only one thing. Syllabus of geography in UPSC preliminary examination. Now you read the syllabus. Can you read the syllabus once again? What exactly your syllabus says? India and world geography. It says physical, social, economic geography of India and world. I repeat again, it says physical, social and economic geography of India. Okay. Now, just now we have decoded the syllabus, not syllabus as such. I have just given you the general idea, right, general outlook of this subject geography. Okay. How many almost divisions this geography is divided into? Physical, social and economic. What are the different approaches? World and India. And what exactly UPSC is asking you? UPSC is asking you to study about what? Physical. Right, UPSC is asking you to talk about what? Physical, social and economic geography of, right, India and world. It means UPSC is asking you to study what? The entire geography. That's the reason I said line is only one, but when I talk about the meaning, entire meaning of geography as almost brought in one. That's the reason why again and again I say, right, preliminary examination is slightly uncertain. Never I will say difficult. Right, it is uncertain. But comes the question, can you make preliminary examination relatively certain? Answer is yes. Right. How exactly you can make it? If you ask me, go to the previous year's question paper and analyze the past method. Somewhere I have just given you the picture of geography. Right. Somewhere I told you that if at all if the syllabus is not given in a detailed fashion, right, you will be, say for example, assume you may not be in a position to decode this syllabus. The preparation can become what? Slightly difficult. But my dear friends, mains examination, I am not going to decode the other paragraphs. Somewhere I said mains examination, the syllabus is beautifully full. What is the topic you have to study till that they are explained. For example, assume, right, if you can read this third paragraph, what exactly the third paragraph says? Important geophysical phenomena such as earthquake, tsunami, volcanic activity, cyclone, etc. Can I say that this is very, very easy to prepare? Only 4 topics are there. You have to prepare what? Earthquake, right? Tsunami is not a separate event, right? Tsunami itself is an offshoot of what? Earthquake. Right? Tsunami you call them as what? Seismic seeping. Right? Tsunami can be triggered only when there is a strong submarine earthquake. Right? So tsunami itself is a subtopic of what? Earthquake. Right, volcanic activity, others, volcanic activity may be completely new. At least for Andaman, I have at least 2 volcanoes. One is extinct, right? Narpandal is extinct. But what about Barren? Active. Right, at least I know about volcanic activity. Cyclone. Again, when I talk about Andaman, Andaman is prone to what? Cyclone. All these disasters, my friend, Andaman is prone. Okay. Now, if you ask me 4 topics, right? Hardly I will take few hours or 1 day to prepare, not more than that. Right? No topic, you have to go in depth. Right? Only the shallow preparation should do. Now comes the question. Is this paragraph, is it actually as easy as it appears? My dear friends, this paragraph says only 4 topics. Right? Again I am reading it. It says important geophysical phenomena such as earthquake, tsunami, volcanic activity, cyclone, etc. Is this paragraph as simple as it appears, my friend? No. Right. I have one word in this paragraph which is making my preparation difficult. Can you identify that word in this paragraph? Very good. What is that word? Etc. Etc. my friend. My syllabus is saying etc. Right? And you know the beauty. Last 5 years, the questions came only from this word etc. Right? It is not from earthquake, it is not from tsunami, it is not from other activities, it came only from etc. Now the last thing, can you decode this word called as etc.? Right? Once you decode this word called as etc., my friend, okay, your preparation is half over. Am I right? Dispose. Yeah. Here. Right. When I talk about etc., right. Once you decode this etc., there will not be any grey area in your syllabus. Right. Only thing is that I should understand not only here. So any places you just go for or any syllabus you just almost see. Right. The words etc. you always find. Now you have to tell me whether you can decode this word etc. What is decoding? Decoding is nothing but, right, almost identifying the likely topics of a grey area. Right. Adding more topics to this word etc. is my decode. Can you decode this word etc.? Possible or not?
Yes, possible.
Very good. Yes, possible. Possible is one. Right. Already somebody has identified. My dear friends, etc. lies within the sentence. It means whatever is common among the other topics will be common to this etc. also. Correct? It will have a contextual meaning. As somebody said, already said, what is so common among them, my friend? Very good. Natural disaster. It means etc. will be other natural disaster. Can you give me some examples? Flood. Drought. Landslide. Famine. Right. Famine and drought, more or less, it is same, right? Right. Almost severe drought will be resulting in what? Famine. Okay. Very good. You have given me drought, extended drought becoming famine. You have given me the concept of flood. You have given me the concept of what? Landslide. But only thing is that I want you to go for systematic analysis. Okay. In what way systematic analysis? If you ask me, somewhere I said etc. means what? Etc. is a natural disaster already we have identified. Instead of we almost identifying that what are the natural disaster, you would have heard about this agency, right? NDMA. Right? What is this NDMA? National Disaster Management. They have identified the disasters. Okay. Right. Some of the natural disasters what they have identified. Earthquake, floods, right? Landslide, cyclone, tsunami. There is also a concept of urban flood. Same flood, but happening in what? Urban areas. Say for example like Chennai, right? Mumbai, Hyderabad, Bangalore, right? Right? They are known for urban floods. The same precipitation in an urban area can result in what? Havoc-like conditions. Right? That's the reason they are brought in what? Urban floods. Heat wave also they are brought. Very surprisingly, volcanic activity is not a disaster in India. Right? Why? Because you know, right?
Yes.
Because
That is not potential factory.
exactly, because they are islands. Right? We do not have inhabitation in that island. For example, when I talk about Barren is an isolated island. Narpanda is one of the most isolated islands in this world. Correct? So they are not a disaster as such in Indian classification. My dear friends, only thing is that if I am just transferring, like what exactly is not right given in your syllabus, flood. Right? I am transferring, but you already have given me the flood. Am I right? Urban flood itself is the extension of what? Flood. Right? Landslide. You have also given me landslide. I am also copying you. Right? And of course, if I am just bringing this heat wave, even drought you can bring. Okay. Now, only thing is that I have to verify whether my understanding is correct or not. Okay. If I am just seeing the previous year's question, my friend. Okay. The last means almost the last 3 years question I have just brought in. Right. Can you read the sentence of this question? Himalayas are highly prone to landslide. Discuss the cause and suggest suitable measures to mitigate. Right? Mitigate. Forget about the question. What is the central theme? Landslide. No. Right. Another 2 years. Major cities in India is becoming more vulnerable to flood conditions. Discuss. What is this flood in cities? Urban flood. Correct? One more question. In what way floods can be converted into sustainable source of irrigation and all weather inland navigation in India? Central theme is what? Right. See, we went for systematic analysis, but even before going for systematic analysis, you have brought me the concept of flood. You have brought me the concept of what? That's the reason I said understanding the syllabus is very important. Never leave any gray areas. Right? Even the word etc. Somewhere if you have something called as etc., do not leave it. Okay? Give it a try. Try to identify some of the likely topics. If you can do that, not only for civil service examination, I am saying, any competitive examination, if you are doing it, half of your preparation is over. Correct? So with this very small understanding, my friend, so what I will do, I will directly start with the subject. I'm just trying to convey here, or I'm just the topics what I'm just going to discuss is some of the common topics in geography, right, which may be asked in any competitive examination, including civil service. Okay. And right now I am touching only the common areas, right? So I am not teaching according to the civil service examination. Similarly, I am also not going beyond the civil service syllabus. Okay. I am just going for a common area, right? So what I will do, I will just start with the very basic concepts, right? Like shape of the earth, like rotation, revolution, etc. Okay. So the basic things we take, right? So I will start with a very basic idea about the shape of the earth. Right, my friend. Sometimes, if I am just asking you what exactly is the shape of the earth, right? What is the shape of the earth? Technically, we call them as what? Geoid. Right? If you ask me what is the literal meaning of geoid, geoid literally means Earth's shape. Somewhere I just want to convey, geoid literally means Earth's shape. If somebody is asking you what is the shape of the Earth, directly you can tell them that it is Earth's shape itself. Right? Sometimes it looks sarcastic in answering, but if you ask me, this is the reality, my friend. Every planet in the solar system has a unique shape. No two planets are exactly same. They can be similar. Right? Similarly, you call some means one planet you call them as what? Earth's twin. Which planet you call them as Earth's twin? No. Venus. Right? Venus is called as Earth's twin, my friend, because when I talk about the shape, when I talk about almost the size, mass, and everything, it is more similar. It is not same. Am I right? Okay. What I want to convey is very simple. Every planet in the solar system, they have their unique shape. Okay. So Earth, you call them as what? Geoid. But if you ask me, okay, geoid I understand, okay, but describe it. If somebody is asking you to describe, you can say that Earth is more like a sphere, but it is not a perfect sphere, right? The radius of Earth is not uniform throughout my field. Earth is more like a sphere, but with a bulge at equator and poles being relatively flat. That also you can write. Earth is more like a sphere, Earth is more like a sphere with bulge at equator, and poles being relatively flat. With bulge at equator and poles being relatively flat. Right. Here, the facts are not important. What exactly is the radius at equator, where exactly, what is the radius at poles, that is not important. But somewhere, if I am just asking you, my friend, right? Okay, just go by this diagrammatic representation and tell me where exactly the radius of Earth is maximum. Which place? Where the radius of Earth is maximum? Where? Analyze this diagram. Somewhere it is said that equatorial diameter is somewhere around 12,756 kilometers and polar diameter is only 12,740. I also said that equator there is a bulge and poles it is relatively flat. So where I have maximum radius, the radius of Earth is not yours. Right? Where exactly the maximum radius of Earth is recorded? At equator. Somewhere you can write it. The maximum radius of Earth is recorded at equator. And where is the minimum radius recorded, my friends? Right, where exactly the minimum radius is recorded? Poles. That also somewhere you can write. The minimum radius is recorded at poles. Okay. Somewhere I have just given you a fact that radius of Earth is not uniform. Now comes the question why. Okay, if somebody is asking you why poles are flat, I can say geography is always a subject of compensation. One place I will be having a surplus and one place I will be having a deficit. I will be having a mountain, I will be having what? Valley. I will be having a day, I will be having night. Right? I will be having a flood, I will be having what? Drought. Always there is a compensation. So if you ask me, somebody is asking you why poles are flat, you can always say this flat nature of poles is the outcome of what? The bulge at equator. Because there is a bulge at equator, my friend, right? Slowly, steadily, the poles has become what? Now I am slightly changing the question. Now I am asking why there is a bulge at equator. Don't tell me poles are flat. Right? Why there is a bulge at equator? Any fast rotating object, right? Any fast rotating object, always there will be a force which acts outside the center. Simple, I'll give you a simple experiment. You take a balloon and fill it with water, right? Assume that this balloon is more a sphere. If you start rotating this balloon, right, the shape of the balloon will change. This balloon will become what? More. Say for example, it will start bulging. Why? You have a force which is acting. What is this force called as? Say for example, if you ask me what exactly is the principle, right? You have a washing machine in your house, if at all if you have. What is the principle that dries the clothes in washing machine? Already I got the answer, but still I am explaining it. Right? Any fast rotating object, always you have a force which acts away from the center. You call them as what? Centrifugal force. So what is pushing the rocks away from the center at equator is what? Centrifugal force. So somewhere you can write it, right? Somewhere you can raise a question, why? Right, there is a bulge at equator. Why there is a bulge at equator? Right, one word answer you can write it. It is all because of what? Centrifugal force. Right? If you ask me why, because the velocity of rotation of Earth at the surface is maximum at what? Equator. So let me consolidate. Right, only few facts I have said. Okay? Right, when I talk about shape of the Earth, what is the shape of the Earth? What is the word you use it? Geoid. What is the meaning of geoid? More of, yes, very good, fantastic. It means Earth shape. It is more of a sphere with bulge at equator and poles being relatively. And there can be only one question that can be asked in examination, my friend. So I am Mr. Chilian, so I will be handling geography for you. Right. See, I understood that here everybody is not preparing for civil service, right? How many of you are actually preparing for civil service? No, right. I think the majority of you are preparing for other competitive examinations, right? No. See, you had plenty of classes, right? So in general, you know the pattern of this examination, right? Say for example, let me assume that in general you are preparing for competitive examination, right? See, in India there are, say for example, for a generalist, I'm not talking about a specialist, for a generalist, if you ask me that how many types of competitive examinations, say for example, are there, generally I would categorize them in two categories, my friend. One, all that examination which is based on aptitude. I hope you understand what is an aptitude, right? See, aptitude is not mathematics, right? So only not more than 20%, my friend. When I call it as aptitude, so only somewhere around 20% of that aptitude based examination is based on mathematics. Because I understand, once I take the name of mathematics, right, normally we have the fear of mathematics, right? How many of you have that fear, right, fear of numbers? But even age we will forget, right? Okay, because there is a number, right? So something like that, okay. So just want to tell you that it means aptitude is not mathematics, right? Okay. There are other set of examination which is based on general studies, my friend. Okay. Only thing is that I will be concentrating more on this general studies based examination. Okay. So one thing, I am not exactly teaching the syllabus of UPSC because I understand that we have a mixture, am I right? So we don't have only one population or one group which is preparing for civil service. So what I have taken I have taken a common area of all competitive examination which also includes civil service. Only that syllabus I have framed it. So only another 2-3 classes we will be seeing only about that. Okay. See, before getting into the subject, I always feel that there are few things what you have to do, right, before starting, right, preparing for any competitive examination. My friends, I am just asking you, okay, it's more like, for example, asking that, okay, let us, right, have a discussion. See, if at all, if I am just asking you, okay, what is the very first step you will start doing, right, whenever you are preparing for any competitive examination? What is the step one? Let me call it as an SOP, right, standard operating procedure. What will be the first step, my friend? Yeah, you should know about the scheme of this examination. I understand. You should know that what are the different stages of the examination, everything, you know, what is the eligibility, everything you should know. Am I right? But after understanding, right, say for example, the eligibility and other things regarding this examination, what you should start with? What exactly you should know about? Can I say, first and foremost, when I start preparing for any examination, my friend, I should know what exactly is the syllabus, right? So without knowing the syllabus, right, you should never prepare for any examination. The reason is very simple, right? Because you yourself will not know that where exactly you are heading towards. Correct? See, any competitive examination, my friend, time is the key, right? If at all, if you want to crack a competitive examination in a limited span of time, you should know what to study and what not to study. How will you differentiate? Right? People normally say, right, IAS examination, civil service examination, anything from the sky they will ask. No, not at all. They will ask only within the syllabus. Right? They will not even go outside the syllabus. Right? My dear friends, syllabus is vast, I understand. Okay. But every question which is asked in the examination lies well within the gamut of the syllabus. So understand the syllabus. Generally I say, it is not even understanding the syllabus. I say normally you should decode the syllabus. Okay, you should decode it. Decode it in the sense you should not have any grey area in the syllabus. Right, this rule is not only applicable to civil service examination, this rule is applicable to any competitive examination. Any competitive examination. Right, it can be group D, group B, whatever it is, group C, whatever it is. Right, any competitive examination, the same funda will apply. Okay. Only thing is that just for a comparison purpose, let me start with the civil service itself. Civil service. Right, so many days you would have heard about the civil service, right? But hardly people are not interested in civil service. That means there is a reason for it. Right, somewhere, if somebody said that I am not so much interested in civil service, I would say that he or she is a rationalist. Right, because I understand the success rate in civil service examination is not so great. But my dear friend, please do understand, civil service is not as difficult as you think about it. Okay. Because I am saying so because I have already qualified this examination. Twice I have qualified. Once I was there with Armed Force Headquarters Service, then I was serving with Central Reserve Police Force. So both the examination I qualified through UPSC. So I know, right, what exactly this examination is all about. I am not saying that this examination is easy. But what I am saying is only very simple. This examination is not difficult. Correct? There is a difference, right? It is not as difficult as you perceive. Right? But one good thing about this examination, once you prepare for civil service examination, any examination in this country you can crack. Because syllabus covers everything. Syllabus covers entire GS, syllabus covers entire, right, aptitude also. Because you have a paper called a CSAT. You heard about CSAT, right? Preliminary examination. The second paper you call them as what? CSAT. Am I right? By convention. Okay. So the CSAT is nothing but what? The so-called aptitude. Okay. Say for example, if you want to take a job in the bank, right, insurance companies, I'm talking about PSUs, right? Right, you will be having an examination which is based on aptitude. Okay. So once you prepare for civil service, that is also taken care. Right? Apart from that, the general studies based examination is also taken care. Not only civil service, my friend. Plenty of examinations we have. You have heard about CAPF, Central Armed Police Forces? Right. Again, the examination is again conducted by UPSC, but if you ask me what exactly is the syllabus, it is a GS based syllabus. General studies based syllabus. You have heard about CDS examination? Combined Defense Service. Again, it is based on what? General studies syllabus. You heard about this IB, Intelligence Bureau? Very recently there was a notification regarding this, right? You have a post called as ACI, Assistant Central Intelligence Officer. That's the direct recruitment, right? Or I could say direct entry where you can almost enter this IB, Intelligence Bureau. Alright. So somewhere if I just talk about these examinations are based on GS, general studies. Everything is fine. When I talk about GS, okay, right, I said including the civil service, the most toughest examination in this country, right? One statistic says that this is the third toughest examination in the entire world. Whatever be the case, right? If you ask me, is it only intelligent people or intelligent students clear this examination? Right? We have students from every walk of life. Right? What you need for this examination, what I need to qualify this examination, of course, perseverance, passion, sustenance, and hard work. Right? Without hard work, you cannot qualify. Okay. People say smart work. Smart work is no less than hard work. Right? Smart work is nothing but what hard work channelized in the right direction, you call them as what? Smart work. Right? So without hard work, nobody is going to clear this examination. But one thing I understand, my friend, any examination you prepare, maybe for 6 months, 7 months, right? I think that should be a sufficient period, right, to make yourself equipped for any competitive examination in this country. This is a fun. So as I said, I'll just divide this as aptitude based and GS based. GS based examinations are the one which will give you the premium post, right? Say for example, whatever you name it, right? I understand that examination will be requiring more of these GS skills, right? Now comes the question. Okay, let it be GS. What are the subjects I should study in general studies? Comes the question, my friend. I'm asking you, what are the subjects? What are the subjects you will be studying in general studies? History, polity, economy, I am here for a purpose, geography, correct? Environment. Only five areas. Broad areas of that. This is what I call them as what pillars or foundation of GS preparation. Right. Only thing is that prioritization will differ. If you ask me, put it in order, right? You put it in, right, the return on investment. I hope you understand what is return on investment, right? Right, how much time I am investing, what percentage of question I am just getting in return. Right, if you ask me in that sense, I will always regard quality first, followed by economy. Not economics, rather it is economy, right? Right, we are not, right, no examination talks about microeconomics, it talks about only what? Macroeconomics. So let us call it as what? Economics, right? Then comes history, then comes geography, then comes environment, right? Okay, I have polity, I have economy, I have history, I have geography, I have environment. Now comes the question, okay, these are the 5 broad areas. 80% of the questions in my preliminary examination is going to come from this particular area. Apart from that, it is current affairs. Alright. Now my dear friends, out of these 5 areas, what about history? Is history completely new to you? No. You have studied history till class 10 at least. Am I right? So history you already know. What about geography? You already know. Then where comes the, means almost, the purpose of this class? Only thing is that, right, what you have already studied, I am going to almost say, for example, it is more like, right, we almost say, remembering that nostalgic memories. Am I right? If at all, if you want to clear civil service, my friend, in one word I would say, go back to your schools. Go back to your schools, study your class books, right? Class text properly, and that is the foundation. History, I already know, you have studied it. Geography, even if you ask me, what is the books I should refer for civil service examination, if you ask me, I would say, right, NCRT, class 6 to class 10. That is fundamental. Class 11 and 12 is sophistication. Am I right? Topic will be same. But what will be different is the depth of analysis, right? You can compare it, Almost even the maps, maybe. I can also give you a comparison. The map what is used in class 6, right, textbook is the same map what is used in class 11 textbook. But only different. Class 6, right, it's a color map. Right, class 11 it is black and white map. That's the difference. Right, otherwise the content is going to remain the same. You can go and you can verify it. Depth of analysis is going to be different. I agree on it. But the overall content topic is going to be similar. History you have already completed. Geography you have completed. Will you believe if I say that polity also most of them you have completed? Between your history and geography in your schools always lies one, means almost lesser known area. Very popularly you call them as what? Civics. Right. In schools you call them as civics, my friend. In your civil service preparation you call them as what? Polity. That's it. Right? Of course, my analysis or depth of analysis is going to change. Right? Polity, already you know. At least the fundamentals of polity you know. Near complete history you know. Near complete geography you know. What about environment? The same history and geography starts only from class 6. What about class 5? I used to call this subject as what? EVS. What do you mean by EVS? Environmental studies, my friend. Nothing but what? Environment. Again you know, environment. The only new subject what you will be studying here is what? Economy. Correct? So my dear friend, civil service preparation is not completely new. It is just a value addition. First and foremost, you should believe that it is a value addition. Alright? See, we have studied our undergraduation. Right? Slowly, steadily, we would have slightly got deviated from the basics of the knowledge what we have already gathered. So put it very simply. If you ask me what is the funda, right, for any competitive examination, I will always say, go back to your school books and make it a strong foundation. Geography, don't go beyond class 6 to class 10 and so. Right? This is what the complete analysis is all about. Now, somewhere I said, my friend, any competitive examination, these are the, right. Okay. Right, my friend. So somewhere I just want to insist one point, that the subject what somewhere, right, what you have it as a syllabus is not completely new to you, right. Now when it comes to the SOP of civil service examination or any competitive examination, I said, know the syllabus, my friend. Right, sometimes I call it as what? Decoding the syllabus. Okay. Maybe say for example, you know the scheme of this civil service examination, right? How many stages you have? You have prelims, mains and interview. Right? Interview is more like a personality skill, am I right? Right? It's a test on personality, right? Forget about it. That is not a written examination. Prelims and mains is a written examination. But only the mode of examination is different. Preliminary examination is objective and mains is subjective. Preliminary examination is more like choose the best answer. Mains examination is descriptive. You have to write answer. Any idea which examination is easy? Mains or prelims? Actually, both are difficult, right? Nothing is easy. Both are difficult. But if I'm just going for a comparative, means almost comparative skill. If I'm just comparing prelims versus mains, then mains examination is comparatively easy. Now comes the question. See, generally people say, right, if you're almost saying, almost talking to a aspirant who's preparing for civil service examination, he would say mains is easy, right? If you ask me what is the ones, or ask him what is the reason, right, he would have not written mains examination. He would have written only prelims and he would have not qualified his prelims, right? Only given a chance, actually you will know that which examination is easy. But I am telling you, whatever be the case, preliminary examination is comparatively difficult than mains examination. Now, what basis I am saying it is difficult, first I should understand. Syllabus, my friend. Preliminary examination, if you just read the syllabus, the entire syllabus is given only in 7 lines, 7 sentences. But when I talk about mains examination, it is given in 7 pages. Right? Again, I am asking you one question. Right? Which is easy for me to prepare or you to prepare? 7 lines of syllabus or 7 pages of syllabus? Which is easy? If you ask me, I would say 7 pages of syllabus is easy. Reason? Right, this 7 pages of syllabus is given in what? Detailed fashion. What is the topic? What is the subtopic? Everything is given. Right? But when it comes for prelims, that sophistication is not. Only that subject is mentioned. For example, if you can read it, syllabus for, you have a board, right? Syllabus for preliminary examination. So somewhere I am just comparing the preliminary examination and say for example the mains examination syllabus, right? Is it visible? Yes. It is not readable, I will read it for you. See, this is only for geography as a subject in civil service examination. I have 3 paragraphs of syllabus. Mains examination, geography, 3 paragraphs. Right. Preliminary examination, if you ask me what exactly is the length of this sentence, right, hardly 1 sentence. But again, if you ask me, right, how much time you will take, one will take to prepare for this 1 line, if you ask me, I would say at least 1 year. Right, if you want to prepare all the topics of this particular syllabus, right, I'd say it will take 1 year. But if you ask me, okay, 1 line itself 1 year, then how many years, this 3 years means 3 paragraphs will come, right? How many time means how much time you will take? If you feel that, okay, 1 line means 1 year, right, if at all if you have 7 pages, right, you will get into service only after your retirement. Okay? So that's not possible, right? So somewhere I understand, right, 3 paragraphs is given, but if you ask me, I will tell you, this you can almost prepare just in 10 days, right, if not 12 days. Why? Because the syllabus topics is given in a detailed fashion. See here, just I want to read you this, read the syllabus. Syllabus for prelims, it says India and World Geography, Physical, Social and Economic Geography of India and World. Only thing is that I should understand what exactly is the meaning of it. Okay. It says, right, India and World Geography, it says Physical, Social and Economic Geography of India and World. I should know the meaning of it. Then I will understand what exactly the syllabus is. Preliminary examination. Okay. So for that, I will start with geography, my friend. Right. So for example, right, when I talk about geography, right, what do you mean by geography? And geography is one subject where the name itself will give you or explain the topic. Right, in that regard, not only, most of the time. For example, if somebody is asking you, what do you mean by earthquake? If you do not know anything, I always say, you split the word, jumble it, write it. That is the answer. Right. What do you mean by quacking? Shaking. Right. Shaking of earth, you call them as what? Earthquake. As simple as this. That's the reason always I believe geography is very easy. Right. In that regard, my friend, if somebody is asking you, what do you mean by geography? What do you mean by geography? Graphy means what? Study. Geo means earth. It means geography is nothing but what? A scientific study of earth. As simple as this. Right. Now we are just going to classify or divide this geography into 2 major areas. Say, assume that I am a student of geography. I do not know what competitive examination is all about. I have taken BA geography or MA geography. Right? I am going to study geography. In that geography, what are the 2 major areas you have? If at all, if somebody is, right, if you can divide this geography into 2 major areas, my friend, right, geography can be divided into 2 major areas. We call them as what? Physical geography and human geography. Right? These are the 2 major areas how geography is divided. Physical and human. Now somebody is coming and asking you, okay fine, what is that you will be studying in physical geography? I would say, right, I will be studying about Earth. Then what you will be studying in human geography? I would simply say I will be studying about. Now comes another question. Right? Don't you think both are same? If both the words are same, right? I will not have two words in English, right? I will be having only one word. It means there is technically a difference between earth and world. Right? How to understand that? I will not take earth and world. Right? The same words what I have used, say for example, I have been using all these days. Right? You have a word called as house. Am I right? You have almost a word called as another word called as what? Home. Do you have any difference between them? Of course, yes. Right. I say yes, there is a difference. If that is the case, my dear friend, what do you mean by house? How many of you are coming from your house? I believe nobody. Right? I'll tell you why. What is a house, my dear friend? What is a house? Very important. It is just a structure. It is just a building. It is just a physical entity which occupies space. Am I right? You call them as a matter, right? Whichever has a mass and occupies space, you call them as what? A matter. Am I right? It is just a physical entity, my friend. It is just a physical entity. Correct? Am I right? It is just a physical entity. Am I right? It just has an existence. Right? A structure which is made up of brick and mortar, you call them as what? House. On what occasion house becomes home? What occasion? When house has what? People, family. Am I right? It means this house, when it has a family or a human being in it, right? You call them as family. Am I right? It becomes what? Right. That's what I call them as what? Human geography. I just giving you a small example or a comparison where I can understand the difference between earth and world. Right? If at all, if I am just going to study about earth in isolation of human being, I am not going to study about human beings, only earth, the different entities of earth. Am I right? I am going to study about land, I am going to study about air, I am going to study about water. Air you call them as what? Lithosphere. Sorry, land. Right? Land you call them as what? Lithosphere, landform features. Air you call them as what? Atmosphere. Water you call them as what? Ionosphere. Am I right? When all these three spheres come together, where land, air and water meets each other, where you have all three combining together, that is the place where you will be having what? Life-bearing sphere on earth. You call them as what? Biosphere. Right? Right. My dear friends, I am just going back to your schools. You know it. I am just telling you that you know it. Correct? Right. Whenever this lithosphere, atmosphere and hydrosphere comes together, that area, right? I should have a land. I should have an atmosphere which is interacting with it, and of course, I need the elixir of life. What do you call them as what? Water. When all three things come together, you call them as what? Biosphere. That's the reason biosphere is the extension of what? Physical geography. Now you may ask me, right? Biosphere means what? Life-bearing sphere on earth. Now only said physical geography will not study about human being. Then how come biosphere? Right? I should understand. Apart from human being, there are almost infinite number of flora and fauna we have. Am I right? Even in biosphere, we are not going to study about human being. We are going to study about what? Flora and fauna. Right? So my dear friends, what is physical geography? Study of earth in isolation of what? Human being. You call them as what? Physical geography. If you are going to study about earth along with human beings, you call them as what? Human geography. Correct? So what exactly is the what is the basic difference between physical and human geography? I have an idea. Right? Now, if you ask me, okay, fine, everything is fine. What is that you are going to study in human geography? I would say, we'll be studying about the socio-economic structure of human being. Correct? Right. Say for example, I will be dividing this human geography further into social geography. Social geography is nothing but what? Study of people. Study of population growth, distribution, settlement, cultural landscape, right? If I am going to study about people, I am going to call it as what? Social geography. If I am going to study about the economic aspect of the same, I will be calling it as what? Economic geography. Correct? It means I am going to study about what? Resources, right? Minerals, energy resources, transport, communication, right? Anything which is pertaining to economy of India. Right. So my dear friends, entire geography, if at all, if you want to classify or divide into major areas, how many major areas are there? Right. Either you can call it as what? 2, or you can call it as what? If I am dividing entire geography into 2 broad areas, what are they? Physical and? If I am just dividing into 3 broad areas, what are they? Physical, social and economic. Right. Only thing is that that's the reason human geography is also called as what? Socio-economic geography as a business. Right. So what is what? I have an idea. Now I just given you a broad picture of geography. What are the different areas I have in geography? Right. Now comes the approach. Geography is a spatial study, right? History is a temporal study. People say spatial and temporal, but if you ask me what is spatial and temporal, spatial means what? Space. Right? I will be studying about different places of same time. That is geography. I will be studying about same place of different time. You call them as what? History. That is temporal study. Right? In that regard, right? If I am just going for approaches, my friend, what are the different approaches I have in the field of geography? It means what exactly is the area what I am going to select in the field of geography. Let me call it as what? Approach. There are 2 approaches. One I call them as what? Universal approach versus a regional approach. What is this universal approach? If I am just studying the geography of the entire world, I call them as what? Universal approach. Though I am using the word universe, literally it doesn't mean the entire world, it's only the world, right? Entire world. I am going to study about the landform of the entire world, right? That is what my universal approach. If at all, if that is the place what I am going to select, that geography I call them as what? World geography. Right? I call them as what? World geography. If I am going to select a particular region, you call them as what? Regional geography. Anything which is smaller than world is a region. Can you give me an example of a region? Any example? I have given you a clue, right? Anything which is smaller than the world is a region. Very good. Country. Right? It can be a continent, it can be a country, it can be a state, it can be a district, it can be whatever it is. Even it can be a taluk. Right? Right. In that regard, my friend, region, it can be continental. Right? It can be geography of Asia, it can be geography of India, it can be geography of Andaman, whatever it is. Right? But if you ask me, studying geography in India, which region is popular? If you ask me, India is popular. If I am studying geography of India, I call them as what? Indian geography. Right? I call them as what? Indian geography. Right? I have just given you, right, the broad division. What are the 2 major divisions I have? Physical and what are the approaches I have? Universal versus regional. Universal approach you call them as what? World geography. And regional geography you call them as what? Indian geography. One example I have just given. Only thing is that now I should go for a combination. Okay. Let me go for a combination. Right. How many broad areas I will be having? Okay. In that regard, I said division. Right. What are the divisions? It is physical versus human. Right. This human, you also call them as what? Socio-economic. What are the different approaches I have? Right. That is world geography. Correct? World geography versus Indian geography. Now look for the combinations. If at all, if you are studying geography right, from India, what are the broad areas you will be studying, my friend? You will be studying about what? Physical geography of the world. Right. Another area will be what? Physical geography of India. The third area will be human geography of world and human geography of world. Even if you ask me what are the 4 books you have for geography in class 11 and 12 NCERT, these are the 4 books. I have one book for what? World Physical Geography. The second book is India Physical Geography. Third book, World Human Geography and India Human Geography. Okay. Even when I talk about civil service examination, this is what the 4 broad areas what I will be studying. Now why I have taken this, I will tell you, my friend. what I have in front of me is the entire, right, syllabus or the combinations of geography, my friend. Entire geography, I am just bringing it in front of you. Okay. Now once again, I just want to show you the syllabus of preliminary examination. Line is only one, right? One line they are given. Can you read it? Right. India and world geography. What exactly they say? Physical, social, and economic geography of India and world. Right, my dear friends. What they say? Physical, social, and economic geography of India and world. Physical, social, and economic geography of India and world. It means what you have to study in geography for geography, entire geography. Correct? That's what I said. Line is only one. But if you ask me meaning, what a person who prepares for 3 years in undergraduation is the syllabus given in one line. Right? So ruthless UPSC is. Correct? Right, my friends. That's what makes preliminary examination difficult. But now comes the question, okay, if syllabus is so hard, right? Can I prepare for this? Never mind. Competition is relative. Right? Relative in the sense, right? Even, say for example, out of 100 you can get 20, still you can qualify. There are chances where out of 100 you get 98 and you still fail. Right? Because competition. Am I right? Only thing is that you have to outsmart the others. Now the syllabus is very difficult. Understanding the syllabus for preliminary examination is very difficult. If that is the case, what is the way out? Do you have a way out? Answer is yes. Is it necessary for me to read entire geography? Answer is no. That's what I said. If you study geography for 3 years, my friend, history for another 3 years, polity for 3 years, alright? So by the time you go to the examination and write it, your son or daughter will also write along with you. So that should not happen, right? So that is the case, I should go for rationalization of preparation, right? When it comes to preliminary examination, what is that important area? Only that area you are going to prepare. There comes another $1 million question. How do you say that this is important and this is not important? Simple. What is the way? Rule number 2 or SOP number 2 for any competitive examination. Always have a habit of what? Referring previous year's question paper. Once you go for analysis of previous year's question paper, right, go for grouping method, right? Right. You will find a kind of a repetition, right? You will find that where exactly the questions are constantly being picked from. Am I right? That is the area where I am going to concentrate. Geography, there are few limited areas where the maximum number of questions, right? I got it as well. My dear friends, 80% of the question comes from 20% of the syllabus, right? Another 20% of the questions, right, comes from 80% of the syllabus, right? If you ask me, which is that I will choose? If you are choosing both, you can never qualify this examination. Which one you will choose? Always go for this. And that's what we call them as what Pareto optimality, right? Right. Always you go for this 80% of the question which is picked from 20%. Take this and leave this. Right? Leave this. I'm telling you, leave it. Never try to complete the syllabus. You cannot, because we do not know what is the syllabus. Only if you know what is the syllabus you can complete. Right? My dear friends, always I say, take risk and leave this 80% of the syllabus. That's what I call them as what? And how do you know that, okay, this is what the 20% of the syllabus I said? Right, previous year's question paper. Very important, my friend. Right, kindly do that exercise repeatedly. I think, right, this preparation slightly you can make it certain. Okay, right, one aspect, right, I have told you why preliminary examination is difficult. Correct. Mains examination is not so difficult, my friend. Right, they have explicitly given the topics. Line by line, topic by topic they are given. For example, forget about the other 3 paragraphs is given, right? I am taking only these paragraphs. Right. What it says, important geophysical phenomena such as earthquake, tsunami, volcanic activity, cyclone, etc. So UPSC is directly saying, prepare earthquake, right? Prepare tsunami, volcanic activity. Explicitly they are giving, right? Tsunami is not a separate activity, right? It is not a separate event. Tsunami is an offshoot of what? Earthquake. Tsunami occurs only when there is a strong earthquake in what? Submarine flow. Alright? Without earthquake there is no tsunami. But that doesn't mean that every earthquake will be resulting in what? Tsunami. Alright? So tsunami is an extension, means extensive study of what? Earthquake. Alright? I'm going to study about volcanic activity, cyclones. Right? It means whatever the disaster or the geographical phenomena what Andaman has experienced, we are going to study. Right? Mainland India or the rest of India do not have volcanic activity. Volcanoes we have. Even Haryana and Gujarat we have volcanic features, but not volcanoes. Right? When I talk about volcano, right? Even let us not talk about this mud volcanoes. When I talk about volcano, officially recognized volcanoes only two in India. Right? Narkondam and Barren. Narkondam is extinct, no more activity. Barren, active. Right? Till 2017 it was dormant, sleeping. Right? 2017 it has become what? Active. So it means I know this. All the topics at least 10. Because right, I am experiencing this. Very simple, my friend. Directly the topics are given. You have to read it. Now, wherever UPSC almost, say for example, see for me, I will put this way. This sentence, on the face of it, it appears it is simple. But if you ask me, is it really simple? I would say no. Actually, this sentence is not as simple as it looks like. I have one word which makes my preparation slightly tricky here, my friend. What is that one word which poses challenge to my means preparation? Can you identify that word in the sentence? Very good. Got it? Etc. Right. What are the topics you will be bringing in, etc.? And you know, last 5 years, 5 questions was asked in this particular paragraph. All 5 came only from this word, etc. No earthquake, tsunami, no. Right. Now comes the question, my friend, is it possible to decode this word, etc.? Yes or no? Answer is yes. Right. If you can decode this word, etc., right, there will not be any grey area in your syllabus. Right? Everything in your syllabus you will be knowing. This is the first step you have to do. Only then comes preparation, my friend. See, whatever hard work you study for 6 hours. There are people who study for 25 hours a day. Right? It means 1 hour from the next day they will borrow and study. That also they do, right? But I'm telling you, my friend, whatever is the hard work you put, that will not work. Correct? It has to be a smart work. Correct? You have to understand the syllabus. Without knowing what is the syllabus, if you are preparing for the examination, God only knows which examination you are preparing. Correct? Right? Know the syllabus, know the grey areas. There should not be any grey areas. Correct? You should know the likely topics, what it can fall under this grey area. I am just putting it to you. Right? Etc. Try to decode it. Now comes the question. Can I say etc. lies within the sentence? Yes or no? Can I say etc. will have the same meaning what the other topics are having? And what is so similar to the other topics, my friend? Earthquake, tsunami, volcanic activity, cyclone. What are they? Okay. What are they, my friend? Fantastic natural disaster. It means etc. will be other natural disaster which is not given in the syllabus. Right? Any names of such natural disaster? Flood, very good. Landslide, very good. Drought, very good. Over, that's it. Over. Right. Flood you have given me. Right. Drought you have given me. Right. Landslide you have given me. Fantastic. Only things that I go in a systematic fashion. Right. Only things that I have to understand what is this etc. Right. See, somewhere we said etc. is what? A natural disaster. Etc. Now instead of we decoding what is this natural disaster, right, we have an agency. Right? We call them as what? National Disaster Management Authority. This authority itself is a disaster. Okay. Right. So when I talk about this NDM, the National Disaster Management Authority, they have classified different disasters in India. Right? What are they? Earthquake, flood, landslide, cyclone, tsunami, urban flood, heat wave, etc. What is surprising? Volcanic activity is not regarded as what? Disaster in India. Okay. It can be to see when exactly it becomes a disaster. Only when it affects human being, you call them as what? Disaster. Right. Barren is not inhabited. Right? So if it is not inhabited, right, even if it is right, burst over, Even if it is going to explode someday, right? It is not going to, right, result in that disaster in that area. Correct. So what I want to tell you, volcanic activity is not a disaster in Indian classification. Correct. The only thing is that I have to transfer other topics which is not mentioned. Right. I am going to transfer it systematically. You have already done it. You have given me flood. They have given one more concept of flood, urban flood. What is urban flood? Flood in cities. Correct. Because the same amount of precipitation, what is going to happen in two different areas. For example, rural areas versus urban areas. Right. And idea says urban areas is easily prone for what? Flooding. They are more susceptible to flood. Right? Why? Because I understand the runoff, surface runoff is heavily affected. Am I right? You do not have surface percolation. Subsurface percolation you do not experience in what? Urban areas. Am I right? When I talk about the removal of surface water, that also you have number of bottlenecks. Right? Whatever it is the case, right? The same amount of precipitation in two different places will yield a different level of flooding. Urban areas is highly susceptible to water flood. Finest example, my friend, Mumbai and Chennai is the finest example. See, Chennai entire life only 2 seasons, my friend. Right, one season will be flood, another season will be drought. Okay, there's nothing but a normalcy. Right, whatever it is. Right. Now I have flood, I have urban flood, landslide you have given me. Okay, heat waves they have given. Okay. Now, even forget about heat waves. Right, I think these 3 terms you have given us. Correct? Right, my friend. Only thing is that I have to analyze the past year's question. Last 3 years question I am just analyzing in mains examination. Question number 1. It says, Himalayas are highly prone to landslide. Discuss the cause and suggest suitable measures to mitigate. Forget about the question. What is the central theme? Landslide. You have mentioned it. Correct. When I talk about major cities in India is becoming more vulnerable to flood condition. Discuss. What is that? Urban flood, extension of flood. Right. In what way can floods be converted into sustainable source of irrigation and all weather inland navigation? What is the central theme? Flood. Right. That's the reason I said, like even the words like etc., you can decode. If you can decode words like etc., my friend, half of your preparation is over. Correct? Preparation is not over, only half is done. Right. Only thing is that that topic you have to cover from the books. Right? So somewhere I am just giving you a clue that mains examination is comparatively easier than prelims. Okay. I am not saying mains is easy, I am simply saying mains is comparatively easier than everything is fine. So somewhere I want to put a point. Any competitive examination, funda rule number 1, understand the syllabus. Number 2, analyze previous year's question. At least 5 years. People normally ask, right, this is the first time this examination is going to happen, sir. Right, how to look for this past 5 years? Not possible. Right, let us not be so theoretical in nature. Okay. Otherwise, one thing you can do, you can wait for another 5 years, so you collect 5 years. Okay. So something like that. See, let us be happy. Okay. Past year's question, you just go for it. And I'm telling you, if at all, if an examination is going to get conducted for the very first time, right, you are very lucky and lucky. Because questions will be directly picked from the explicit topic of the syllabus. You take any examination, you analyze what is what? The final understanding is all. Right? Analyze the past year's question, my friend. Number 3, very, very important, material. Right? Study material. You have to select a study material such that the study material should be as small as possible. Right? That doesn't mean that you should not have a study material. Okay, some study material should be there, but it should be as small as possible, but it should cover maximum part of the syllabus. No books in the market covers 100% of the syllabus. Okay, so do not look for a book which do not exist in the market. Okay, so just select a book which has maximum of syllabus. Right, minimize the material. Why I am insisting on minimizing the material is very simple. Right, without compromising the quality, I should minimize the material. Never read same topic from 2 different books. Right? Competitive examination, we call it as a crime, cognizable offense. Okay? Because you don't have time. One topic only from one book. Why? Because revision becomes very difficult. Examination, revision is very, very important. There is a golden rule, right? There is a mantra, I call it as, right? What is this golden rule? People always say it is always better to read one book 10 times than to read what? 10 books with us. Okay, limit the material. Right, let your friend have a mini library. Eventually you will become a librarian, right? Not a civil servant. Okay. You keep your material very simple. Don't show the world that you are preparing for civil service. Okay. You have to prove yourself, okay, you are preparing for a cause. Right, minimize the material. Preliminary examination, I am telling you, even for civil service, right, all books put together, it is not more than 10 books. Will you believe it if I say so? That's what the truth is all about. Only 10 books. You have to shortlist the 10 books. Then you have to maximize that. Right, almost that material, you have to maximize the revision. More number of revisions, more number of practice of questions, any examination becomes very easy. This is what the funda is. Right, knowing the funda, what I do, right, since my subject is geography, I will start with geography. Right, maybe another 2 classes, I will be giving you some common areas. Where this topic is asked in almost all the examination, my friend. Any competitive examination you just go for. Right, these are the common topics which is asked, right? So I have selected few areas where these topics are common to all competitive examination. Okay. Right, my friend. Okay. So very simple topics I just talk about. Okay. I'll start with the basic element of Earth, right? Like shape of the Earth, what is the Earth's movement, what do you mean by rotation, revolution, season cycle, latitude, longitude, so on. Okay. I'll start with the very basic concept. So let us start with geography, another 2 classes. So the basic facts I talk about. Okay. And from my side, what I have just promised your organizer, right? I think you are preparing for a few examinations. What are the examinations that is coming in the near future? Sorry? SSC. SSC is completely a different ballgame. SSC requires more of right, aptitude, and GS is also there, but less of GS. Okay. SSC, we need more of a strategic preparation. Apart from SSC, IB is based on right, our GS. Right. You are talking about ACI, right?
Yeah.
Right. SSC, are you preparing for CGL or HGL? CGL, right. Combined graduate level, right? Okay, right. Fine, okay. If that is the case, GS part we overlap. Okay, right. Now I am just starting with a very basic fact, my friend, shape of the Earth. Right. If you ask me what exactly is the shape of the Earth, I would say this, geoid. Right. If you ask me what is the meaning of geoid, I would say this. The literal meaning of geoid is what? Earth's shape. Right. See how sarcastic it is, right? If somebody is asking you what is the shape of the Earth, people say this, Earth's shape is. Because that is the meaning. Geoid literally means Earth's shape. Means what? No other planet in our solar system has the same shape of what? Earth. Right. See, we can have a planet which is very similar to Earth. You also call a planet as Earth's twin, right? Which planet is called as Earth's twin? It's not Mars, it is Venus. Venus is called as Earth's twin, my friend. Okay. Right. Now, somewhere I want to tell you that it can more resemble Earth. Right? But it is not same as what? Right. Every planet is unique in its shape. Correct? Similarly, that shape, what Earth possesses, you call them as what? Geoid. Okay, I got it. Now I have to describe it. What is geoid? When I talk about the shape of the Earth, forget about geoid, my friend. Going back to the schools, right? I studied in a fashion. Somebody said Earth is more like a sphere. They never said it is a sphere. It is more like a sphere. Right? It means what? The radius of Earth is not uniform to Earth. Right? And further they added, this Earth is more like a sphere with bulge at equator and poles are relatively flat. So somewhere I understand, equator, there is a bulge, my friend. Right? And poles, it is. Okay. Whenever I say flat and bulge, meaning is, equator I have extended radius and poles I have truncated radius. Always geography there is a compensation. One place there will be a surplus, another place there will be a deficit. Right? Some place will experience a day, another place will experience what? Night. Some place there will be a flood, another place there will be a drought. I mean, always there is a compensation. Okay. That's the reason always average comes in. Even sea level, you use it as what? Mean sea level. Why I call it as mean sea level? Because every day, every hour the mean sea level will change. Because I have something called as high tide something called as always there is a compensation. Right, my friends? So somewhere I understand I have an extended radius at the equator and truncated radius at the poles. And if somebody is asking you why there is these poles are flat, if somebody is asking you, you can simply tell them because there is a bulge at the equator. Why poles are flat? Because there is a bulge at the equator. Right, because the rocks indirectly comes from water. Right, the poles way. So that's the simple answer. Why poles are flat if somebody is asking you? Simply tell them because it is compensated by the bulge at the equator. Now slightly I am changing the question. Why there is a bulge at the equator? Don't tell me because it is poles are flat. Right? Why there is a bulge at the equator?
What is rotating?
Fantastic. Half right. My dear friend, any rotating object, there will be a force which acts outside the center. Fantastic. Right? You will be seeing this means you have seen this washing machine, right? If you ask me that what is the principle based on which this clothes are dried in the washing machine, same principle. Right? The fast rotating object, the particles are always thrown away from the center. You call them as what? Centrifugal force. The reverse of this, you call them as what? Centripetal. Okay. Right. Somewhere you can write it, a very important fact. You yourself can raise a question. Why there is a bulge at equator, you can raise a question. And one word answer you can write it is because of what? Centrifugal force. Right. So some of the very basic facts I've given you. What is the shape of the earth? Geoid. Right. How do you describe a geoid? More of a sphere with bulge at equator and poles on. Okay. Why there is a bulge at equator? It is all because of what? That's it. Now again, if somebody is asking you, then I say somebody, it means that somebody is example. Right? What he is asking is a question. Okay. Why the centrifugal force is maximum at the equator is because the velocity of rotation at the surface of the earth is maximum at what? Equator. See, when I said this statement, this should not, it should not appear as though different place of earth takes a different time in rotation. Time of rotation is almost same. What is the time of rotation? Almost 24 hours. Am I right? But what is different, right? Say for example, assume a person is standing here, my friend. In 24 hours, what will be the distance he will be covering? Only this much distance. Am I right? If the same person is standing in equator, can I say he will be the person who covers the maximum distance? What is speed, my friend? Speed is nothing but what? Distance by time. Here, time is constant 24 hours. What is going to differ? Distance. Right? If that is the case, where exactly I have the maximum distance? Maximum distance at equator. It means where exactly the maximum rotational velocity at surface is recorded? Equator. Where is minimum? Very good. Right? Value is not important. I am pretty sure that UPSC at least is the examination which do not believe in values. Right? It believes in what? Concepts and plan. Okay. Right. So what is the shape of the earth? We know. The reason also we know. Correct? Right. Any doubts if you have? Maybe after the class also you can ask. Then moving on to the next concept. Right? Earth's movement. Predominantly earth has two movements, my friend. What are the two movements that earth has if you ask me? Right, I would say it is rotation and revolution. Correct? Rotation and revolution. What do you mean by rotation? Simple. Rotation means rotation. Revolution means revolution. Correct? No. But somewhere if I am just putting in, right. See, somewhere you know it, but only thing is that we are not in a position to define it. What is a rotation? In simple terms, I call it not spin off. Right. If at all, if I want to be too technical, I would say angular movement of Earth on its own axis. You call them as what? Then what is a revolution? Movement of Earth around the Sun, you call them as what? Revolution. Spin of Earth, rotation. Movement of Earth around the Sun, you call them as what? Very good. Right, what is this one complete rotation you call them as? One complete rotation. What is the name you call it as? Okay. If at all, if Earth is completing one rotation, my friend, what exactly that period you call them as? Yeah. 1 day. Correct? One complete rotation you call them as what? 1 day. What is this one complete revolution you call them as? Very good. Right. So one complete rotation you call them as 1 day, one complete revolution you call them as what? What is the immediate outcome of rotation? Because Earth is rotating, what is the immediate outcome? Fantastic, day-night difference. Because Earth is revolving, what is the immediate outcome? Seasons, like classic verses, right? Summer, autumn, winter, spring. That's right. Okay. So what is a rotation? What is a revolution? But sometimes what happens, what adds to the complexity is that rotation and revolution happen simultaneous to each other. Right? You hope understand what is the simultaneous, right? Hand in hand. Right? Earth is rotating, right? While it is rotating, it is also what? Revolving. This is what adding complexities. First we take the simple facts, then I will go for complex facts. Right? So rotation, if you want to take it, you can take it. Right? So what is rotation? Somewhere you can write it. Spin of Earth on its own axis. And all the slides, what I am using it, I will just give you. Right? Supplementary notes also I will give you, so don't mind. Whatever you can take it, you take it. Right? Spin of Earth on its own axis is called as rotation. Right. And one complete rotation is called as 1 day. And one complete rotation is called as 1 day. Rotation causes day-night difference. Right? Rotation causes day-night difference. Right. Now comes the question, what is the direction of rotation? Right. Very important. What is the direction of rotation? Earth rotates from west to east. Just because Earth is rotating from west to east, my friends, say for example, if at all if you would have been almost traveling by train or bus, right? Right. Almost taking a window seat, right? Favorite, everybody's favorite seat, window seat. Somewhere if you are sitting in a window seat, my friend, right, it will appear as the entire Earth is almost moving backward, right? All trees will be moving backward, right? You will be stationed. Am I right? The same phenomena you experience here. Because Earth is rotating from west to east, right? Anybody standing at any place on Earth, normally, right? He or she experience that everything moves, all celestial body will be moving from what? East to west. Right? What is the direction of movement of sun? Which direction sun rises? East. And which direction sun moves? West. Is the sun moving? It is notional. It is perceptual. Which direction moon rises? East. Which direction it moves? West. Which direction generally the star rises? Forget about pole stars. Right? East. And which direction it moves? West. Why? Because Earth is rotating from west to east, it is appearing that all celestial objects are moving from what? East to west. Alright? This is fundamental. Right? And people normally ask, right, which direction Earth rotates, is it clockwise or anti-clockwise, right? That question itself is wrong. You cannot say which direction. Say for example, if at all if I am just looking from North Pole, my friend, right, Earth will rotate in what? Counter-clockwise in direction. If I am just seeing the Earth from South Pole, right, it will be moving in what? Clockwise direction. If you are moving, almost if you are seeing this Earth from equatorial region, right? Which clockwise or which direction it moves if you ask me, right? Neither clockwise nor counterclockwise. It will turn into digital clock, right? Nothing will work. Just want to tell you that this question itself is wrong. Somebody is asking you, right, which direction this Earth moves, right? Is it clockwise or anti-clockwise? I believe that the question itself is wrong, right? So, ignore that question. So, when I talk about the direction of rotation, it is from west to east. And just before concluding the class today, one question I am just asking you. Somewhere I said, Earth takes 1 day to complete one rotation. 1 day. Correct? Or in other words, let me say, when I talk about 360 degree of rotation on its own axis, right? Only thing is that I am just asking you a question. How much time Earth takes to complete the 360 degree of rotation on its own axis? I'll give you a clue. I'll give you a clue. One clue from my side. It is not 24 hours. It is? Very good. 23 hours. 23 hours. And rest accordingly knows. Correct? Right. What is that? Okay, fine. I'll give you the value method. It is 23 hours, 56 minutes and 4.09 seconds. Right? Even this 4.09 seconds you forget. Approximately, if you ask me 360 degree of rotation, it is 23 hours and 56 minutes approximately. It is 4 minutes less than the perceived 24 hours. Now I have the greatest question, then why my watch every day shows 24 hours, right? The answer to that, right, we'll see in the next class. Okay, what is the next class? Monday. Okay. So we just answer this question on Monday. Okay. Right, all these slides, I'll just share it as a, you have any group? Whatever it is, I'll just give it to your organizer, right, we'll be giving it. Thank you.